episode of Chatty Bros with Becca and Jess.
Oh my goodness.
Broads, here we are. Becca, we're recording in person, and it's been quite some time.
I'm really excited that we're doing it for this because thank God this season's over.
Honestly, Becca, watching this episode was like, it was like the whole episode was a heavy weight. It was like wearing a heavy blanket, the whole energy. Obviously, there was incredibly intense topics that we had to talk about, but even just the finale episode was just such a downer, the whole thing. Like, okay,
no,
we need a breather.
This is like a toxic relative that like has finally left town after visiting me for the past 8 weeks.
I mean,
10 weeks.
I will tell you, I feel for Matt James big time right now. I watched him on Good Morning America this morning, talk with Michael Strahan, and he looks so sad and so tired that I just want to smack just anyone who's giving him a hard time. I just feel like he's getting so much heat about so many things. And it was like last night on especially the After the Final Rose episode, it was like, come on, everybody. Like the burden that he feels.
He doesn't even have 1 million followers. What the fuck? I'm following right now just to add to his following.
Get this man to 1 million followers.
How? Not even worth it.
For the love. I mean,
not even worth it.
I don't think, and I could be wrong about this, but I don't think he even posted on social media like at all yesterday, except for one post of him eating Ithaca hummus in front of the TV before the episode started, or he was watching golf or something.
Yeah, he posted a thing about like a picture of his family on his story, but
okay, yeah. But other than that, like he's not posting, he didn't have like that typical like, well, you know, it didn't go the way I planned, but thank you for the journey. He's tired.
You know what's crazy though? Like, I guess the ratings for this season just probably weren't as good because like everyone's following compared to Pete's season, where Maddie got what, 1.8 million followers? That is so crazy. Like, even I know Rachel was one of the favorites. You know, she has 550 followers.
She is the most by a mile.
Yeah, but still, everyone's under, like, I mean, people on Colton's season were reaching 1 million. Like, it's really interesting this season. I mean, it makes sense because Matt wasn't on any other, like, I think a lot of people were like, who is this guy?
Because we didn't get to know him at all.
Which it probably would have been better if he was on Hannah's season.
Yeah, for sure. But on the flip side too, this was, I think, of all the seasons ever, we got to know the women the least.
Yeah, totally.
Like,
yeah, totally. You're like, why would I follow them on
the women? I'll say this: the women that we got to know the most were all the drama starters and the nightmares in the first 3 weeks. I don't know. They spent an entire episode on Sarah, who was gone by episode 2. Okay, like Sarah, I think got like the most screen time of almost all the women, and I was like, she wasn't even after or even on the damn Women Tell All. Now, I will tell you this. Matt's looking exhausted. You know who wasn't exhausted was his best friend, Tyler Cameron, who was hawking merch all day yesterday like you would not believe. If you go on his stories, there's about 5 posts of him, and he's just like,
I'm sure he hasn't even posted a photo of like him and Matt. Like,
he's like, I'm out here supporting my guy, Matt. You can help by purchasing Myler merch. Matt and Tyler, that's now what it's called, Myler merch. And I'm like, dude, your friend is struggling right now and you are selling your own merch on your FanJoy account. Like, that includes his name. I hope he's getting a damn cut of this for the love. Also, one of his newest pieces is instead of I Heart MJ, I Heart Matt James, it's I and then a vibrator MJ. So he's using Matt James's initials, Katie's move, and also MJ, because her and MJ were both named the vibrator, and also MJ were both named MJ. So I'm like, so you're using all these people for your own merch.
I'm like, who is gonna buy that? Like, what?
Girl, I bet he's doing well.
The I dildo MJ? Like, that doesn't even make any sense.
It doesn't even make any sense. In fact, it feels kind of creepy. Like, there's something about it that just feels a little weird.
Well, they're probably hooking up in their apartment building like you called, you know?
Yeah, definitely Tyler, Cameron, and blonde MJ are definitely, you know, moving and shaking in that apartment complex. That's for sure. I believe it.
Matt James. I get. Okay. All right. Well,
but he seems Tyler Cameron's doing fine. Matt James he has the rings under his eyes at this Good Morning America interview.
Poor man.
Yes, and just dealing with production and bullshit, and Tyler Cameron is just living for his merch.
He's just like, Matt's just like, why the fuck did I do this?
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. I mean,
like, this was not fucking worth it.
It was like, you know what he probably was thinking?
I hope he ends up dating a celebrity.
Me too.
He needs that in his
I
life
feel
right
like
now.
he definitely could. My goodness,
Yeah.
But like, yeah, other than getting the followers, and he already had a good amount of followers because of the quarantine crew and Tyler Cameron. He's probably just like, dude, I should have just stayed back and partied with TC and like been continuing to hang out with like these supermodels than do this to myself.
I think he's probably totally regretting it. I don't think I think it's one of those things though. Like, I don't think he'll like regret it in the future. I think sometimes leads are in that position where they're just like, this is horrible. And then maybe a year from now, he'll be like, when he's dating, when
he's dating Bella.
Yeah, I know.
When he's dating Bella Hadid.
Gigi, she has a baby.
Gigi is with Zayn. Ugh. And the baby.
And their baby. And
precious.
the baby.
And the baby. But he'll be with Bella.
Yeah, or
and the
Stassi,
weekend will be shaking.
Or
Kylie
Jenner. I don't know.
One of them. One of the crew. Whoever Kylie Jenner's assistant is, who's also one of the hottest humans. You know what?
Yeah.
I mean, is that a requirement? Like, if you
and she's been working for them for a long time too.
If you are a assistant,
like we only invest in hot people.
Seriously, it's kind of insane. Like, when you look at any really famous celebrity's assistant who's a beautiful woman, their assistant is like 10 out of 10 stunning.
They're like, I need someone who understands like what it's like
to be this beautiful. They also
I know, and like she's an influencer now. Did you know? Like, she quit being an assistant to be an influencer.
And they also always look like them.
Yeah.
Like, they choose people who look like them and have like similar like body types or similar like hair or facial structure.
By the end of their career together, they're gonna have similar body types.
That's true. For real. They all but they start to transform more and more into the celebrity.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
I mean, I would love to have a little documentary about that.
Speaking this is a bit off topic, but we brought up Maddie like 2 minutes ago. Didn't I call Maddie and Noah together? Didn't I call that?
You did.
I did. Now, and then who was spotted together this past week?
I would
Maddie, Noah, Ivan, and
Connor.
And
then one of Maddie's friends who is not from Bachelor Nation.
Okay.
But is like an influencer.
So Maddie was the only Bachelor girl there.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. I wonder if that will be happening on Bachelor in Paradise.
There's going to be some more stupid behind the scenes text message, whatever.
Oh, it's going to be a whole thing. You know what's going to happen? I bet Connor and Noah both have a crush on her.
Yes.
And they're friends. And it's going to be, but Noah and Ivan are like better friends. And Ivan will be there too. And he's going to have to be the in-between with Connor and Noah, poor guy.
I bet like Maddie will have already like kissed one of them, but then like the other one doesn't know.
Yes.
And then they're both going to be pursuing her in Paradise.
And then Ben's going to come in and be like, let me sweep you off your feet.
Which apparently Ben posted the statement on his story, not on a hard post.
Okay, well, everyone else did it on as a hard post.
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever. But then that's also the only thing that's ever been posted, because I've been keeping a sharp eyeball.
I have post notifications on. You better believe the
algorithm
what it is not bearing his story.
You know why it is? It's because I don't follow him, but right after Tayshia's season, I was checking out all of his stories a ton to see if we were getting any breadcrumbs about anything. And now in my my feed, he's always there.
Oh,
my discovery feed.
Yeah, the Explore,
or
whatever.
Explore. And then I'm always like, oh, Ben. And then I've been keeping a sharp eye.
Ben?
Oh my God, another very close photo. Oh my God, another very close photo. Oh my God, another very close photo.
We're such haters.
I know. Sorry, Ben.
Also, we briefly thought that Zach and Tayshia were broken up.
when I tell you the level of panic that it like set in, because I already knew we were going to be having this heavy Bachelor finale episode and after the final rose and all that. And I'm like, I can't handle this if
so
Zach and Tayshia are not together.
Background. Basically, a Bachelor account posted that Zach's mom unfollowed Tayshia on clickbait and on her profile and on clickbait, which we still haven't gotten any answers on that, but I have my theories. So then we were like, oh my God, did they break up? But then Tayshia addressed it on her stories and was like, we're not broken up. Like, you guys stop.
And everybody was just like, Zach does not support Tayshia becoming the host of The Bachelor or The Bachelorette and da-da-da-da. And then Zach posted a photo like a few hours after Tayshia posted, and he was just like, you deserve everything, queen, and like whatever. And I'm like, okay, we all need to calm down. We're all a little on edge because we need love right now. And so
more than ever.
we definitely shouldn't put that on Tayshia and Zach because they're doing fine. They love each other. Yes, she has to be away from him for a hot minute, which I'm sure is like, it just sucks. But
you know, like, I love that he's got his life, so he couldn't come along with her, you know?
Exactly. And also, that's in other news, is that
did we talk about this last week? We didn't talk about that.
No, because this was just broads and broads. Chris Harrison will not be hosting the next season of The Bachelorette.
That's right.
I do have to tell you,
after this episode, I was like, forget any statements he made about Rachel. After this episode, I was like, he's canceled.
Oh, first of all,
creepiest person. And that's saying a lot because Neil Lane was on the episode.
And Neil Lane honestly was like a gift compared to him. He actually gave decent advice. He actually listened to Matt and didn't shame Matt for questioning it.
Chris is like, don't question the process, man. My man.
Ooh, what? You gonna listen to your mom? Your little old mom?
Oh,
now you're she.
Oh, now you're listening to your heart. Don't listen to your heart. The heart lies. Listen to love, Matt.
Who gives a shit what anybody in your life thinks? What about me and the producers? We're your best friends. We say you and Rachel are meant to be together forever. The next royal couple of Bachelor Nation.
You would give her up? Rachel? Sweet as cotton candy? Okay, I'm sorry. Someone in the comment section said on Chatty Bros that apparently there was like a live stream at the beginning of the season where he was doing what was it? Introducing the women, whatever.
Yeah, he was doing like little bios on all the women on Facebook.
And he said she's sweeter than cotton candy.
Excuse
or sweet as cotton candy, some shit. Anyway, I was like, that rattled me to my core.
Yeah, not a fan of that. Not into that. No. And then after seeing all this, and then after seeing Chris with Rachel on this past episode, and then you sent that meme, and I started thinking about, and it all started kind of falling together for me. I was like, yeah, he always has been, he's definitely had his eyeballs on Rachel the whole time. He probably wanted her to become the next Bachelorette, let's be real.
Yes, he absolutely did. He wanted to spend as much time as possible with her, as close as possible.
He's like, I sure hope that we're traveling at this point because I can't wait to show her the world.
Sorry to barge in unannounced.
Oh, leaning against the door. Ooh. Oh. And she was so happy to see him. She was literally, oh my God, hi. Just beaming. Because normally when you see Chris Harrison, it's not good news, especially before a date.
Okay, true. Especially after, yeah.
It's always, the whole joke is always Chris Harrison walks in while they're about to have the cocktail party. And everyone's like, oh God, here comes Chris. Rachel was thrilled to see Chris.
Interesting.
And the theories continue. Anywho, Chris will not be the host of this season, this upcoming season with Katie as the Bachelorette. Tayshia and Caitlin will be hosting. Becca, when I tell you, I am thrilled to my toes. We will not be having to see Chris Harrison. I'm also just so excited to have a lead, a female lead, be with another female lead. Like, to be able to give advice, I feel like it's going to be so much better.
Yeah, totally. I was thinking that, actually. I was thinking that even when Emmanuel Acho was interviewing Michelle. And I was kind of thinking, it only made me notice it because it's normally Chris Harrison and then it was another man. And I was kind of like, damn, it would be kind of nice to have like a woman interview like another woman.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, that would make for a different dynamic for sure. Like it's definitely kind of different when a dude is asking a girl like all about these feelings for another guy. It's just a different vibe. So I think it'll be good.
And especially Tayshia being so recently on the show to be like, okay, what are you thinking? What's going on? Let's work through this.
Totally.
You know, all of that. And so Katie put out, before she was officially announced as the Bachelorette, Katie put out a statement and she basically said, I stand with the other women of this season. I think Chris Harrison needs to take a step back. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. And she started to get, because it had already leaked via Reality Steve that she was going to be the Bachelorette, she was getting so much shit from people.
Oh, really?
Yes. Like, we thought you were going to be a great lead and now you're talking about Chris Harrison and like, you know, fuck you and da-da-da-da. And she was getting so much heat. So then I was like so happy, especially to hear that Tayshia and Kaitlyn are going to be replacing him. Except I will say this, Becca. I cannot help but go in the future and think I'm so happy that Tayshia and Kaitlyn are taking his place for Katie's season. But they keep talking about Chris Harrison doing the work and coming back. So on Katie's season, who's a white woman after this controversy,
yeah, it's like, right.
I sure hope
see where you're going with
that
this.
when Michelle's the Bachelorette, that there is a conversation, right? That's all I kept thinking
I feel like
about.
it's far enough in the future. They're just going to kind of brush it aside and be like, Chris Harrison is back. Yeah, he's coming back for sure. Specifically because, so there's a Instagram tea account that I love called Not Skinny But Not Fat. I was also on her podcast, but she posted about how the women, Tayshia and Kaitlyn, are specifically using verbiage of like, we're supporting like the show, like we're not replacing. And actually Kaitlyn even responded to a comment that said something about like you taking Chris Harrison's place. And
I love how people are like, how dare you both take his place?
I'm like, okay.
What the? Okay.
Who wouldn't take that opportunity?
Please.
And then Kaitlyn specifically responded back and like, we're not replacing him, like we're just supporting. And so they keep using this like verbiage of supporting and support. And so he's not going anywhere. Which from a marketing standpoint, I have to say, loved Emmanuel Acho hosting. At first it was a little,
he was a little nervous at first.
It was a little, at first it was a little stilted and I was kind of like, but then
about
it got
10
really
minutes
good.
in, it got
really
good. He was so sweet. By the way, he was posting all over his Insta stories. He's like, this is the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done. He's like, countdown 9-8. I'm so nervous. Like he was so, because he's not part of the Bachelor franchise.
Yeah.
This is like Chris Harrison's been doing this same process over and over and over again.
Do you think when they offered him this, he was like, fuck, and they had to like binge all of the episodes?
I think so.
Probably.
I think so. But yeah, 10 minutes in, all of a sudden it was like, oh my goodness, this is just
his thing with Michelle was a little stunted, but then it got good. But it was very, I have to say, it was very rattling to see someone that wasn't Chris Harrison as the host.
Sure.
I was like, whoa, this does not feel like the same
it felt
show.
different.
Yeah.
It definitely felt different. And it's going to take some time. I feel like though, if they implement people like slowly involve it, that would be easier for like, or not easier, but it might be a smoother transition. So like if they have Kaitlyn come in and then Tayshia come in and maybe Emmanuel will be after the final rose again. Or if then let's just say Bachelor in Paradise, they maybe use Tayshia and then they bring Nick in.
Yeah.
So then they start to like kind of use, like maybe they keep using Tayshia, but then they change up the people. They keep using Kaitlyn and they change up the people.
I had a thought like, what if Chris Harrison literally just does the transitions, where he was like, and we're back, the most dramatic season ever. Like, take it away, whoever. And then that person does the interviews.
That
shook
would me to
better.
the core though, by the way. Because all I could picture was Chris Harrison not willing to give up his position. He's like, I will do the voiceovers.
Oh, the voiceovers.
And I was just like, stop it. But yeah, no, if he does...
imagine if, he didn't give the lead advice, he was just kind of like, here's the final rose, but then like someone like JoJo, came in and talked with the lead or with the Bachelorette, or like, Pete came and gave some sage advice to the lead guy.
Pete and all his wise advice.
I'm like, what guy would they have from the past seasons? Pete? No. Colton? No.
If they stand by having at least one male host, I firmly stand with Nick. I think Nick would be a really good host.
I agree, actually.
Because, like, listen, here's the deal. When you listen to he just had Bree, by the way, on his podcast, Vial Files, and I was listening to it, and he's not afraid to ask.
No, oh my God.
Really intense
Can you imagine that after the
questions.
final rose, he would go there? He might go there a little bit too much.
Maybe, but they could edit stuff out.
That's true. For the lives, though, the live segments,
Yeah.
he would be like...
But I'm like, I have this vision. I just, I have my my Raven Simone visions of Tayshia and Nick. I just keep seeing it.
That would be stellar.
Right?
Yeah. They would be like the Nick and Vanessa Lachey of Love is Blind.
Exactly.
Just kidding. No, but that would be so good.
Right?
That would be dynamic.
Yeah, because they both have very different personalities too.
I could see them both doing the hot seat interviewing people, like a couple,
Yes.
And I could see Nick just being like, really? Like, that's really how you're gonna defend that?
And I think Tayshia, and I also think Tayshia and Nick have like gone back and forth a little bit before, because he didn't think she was gonna be a great Bachelorette, and she was a little bit like, excuse me. So maybe they might have a little bit of like fun, kind of like banter back and forth.
I love that. I love that. That's a good idea.
you.
Yeah, Nick and Tayshia for sure.
I'm feeling it in my bones.
That feels modern. That feels contemporary. I'm sorry. Not to age shame, but I'm going to age shame. Okay. Chris was looking really old. And I was like, you're kind of like, when Neil Lane is starting to look younger than you.
I was like, oh my God, Neil Lane, tell us about your facial regimen. Like,
I'm like, Neil Lane comes back every season with like less and less wrinkles. And Chris Harrison, meanwhile, is like, I mean, the man is decaying as we watch him on the show. No ageism though, you know?
just to him.
Yeah, just to Chris.
Just to Chris.
Anyway, before we keep going, should we take a quick pause?
Let's take a quick pause. Okay, broads. I saw so many of my friends get pets this year, which, like, very understandable. Pets bring so much joy. I did myself. I think it's safe to say a lot of people needed a little light in their life in 2020. And if your new furry friend happens to be a cat, that means you also probably had to introduce a litter box into your home. Not the most ideal situation unless you are using Pretty Litter. Pretty Litter is the world's smartest kitty litter for so many reasons, but the coolest has got to be their innovative illness detecting technology.
Yeah, I actually use Pretty Litter for our cats at home, and I can't tell you how much peace of mind it gives me, because Pretty Litter will literally change colors if it senses potential signs of illness, like kidney disease and urinary tract infections. And cats are really sneaky when it comes to hiding illness. So knowing that Pretty Litter is going to give me a heads up, that makes my life so much easier and gives me a lot of peace of mind. And Pretty Litter is also the safest litter, not only for your cat, but for the whole family, because most store-bought litters have irritants that can cause allergies and asthma to act up. But Pretty Litter is made using a super light crystal base that eliminates excess dust and mess, which is awesome.
Pretty Litter gets it, which is why they ship directly to your door for free in a super lightweight bag. No late night store runs or figuring out where to store these huge tubs of extra litter. Your cat deserves the best. Your cat deserves the world's smartest kitty litter. And you can make the switch to Pretty Litter today by visiting prettylitter.com and use promo code CHATTY for 20% off your first order. That's prettylitter.com, promo code CHATTY for 20% off. prettylitter.com, promo code CHATTY. Well, broads, this is a fact about me. I want to have my cake and eat it too.
Me too.
Just in general, okay?
Did you know I just recently like understood what that meant?
Yeah, I had to research.
Yeah, it's like it's basically what it means is you want to hold your cake in your hand and, you know, also have consumed it.
Yes.
I was like, have your cake and eat. That never made sense to me.
You were just like, well, what would you do with just the cake?
What else would you do?
What would you do if you got the cake? What are you
and
supposed
I ate
to?
it. That's the same thing. I had cake. I ate cake. Anyway,
You're like,
never mind.
I don't understand.
Continue on.
Well, I feel this way, okay? And when it comes to fashion, especially, I want to look cute and be comfortable. That is one positive thing that came out of this past year, sweatsuit takeover. I am so here for it. But why stop there? Take the comfort from head to toe with ROTHYS, aka the most comfortable, also so stylish shoe and current obsession. And they even have a new line of bags, which honestly might be probably the newest obsession for me. It's unfortunate I'm running out of space in the closet for the purses. SOS.
Jess and I love ROTHYS for all the reasons she just mentioned. They're cute. They're comfortable as heck. But get this, they also make all their products with materials from marine plastic and repurposed water bottles. And broads, to date, ROTHYS has transformed over 75 million bottles into shoes, bags, and masks.
So
and because they're all made from flexible plastic thread, they're literally the most comfortable shoes I own. And from the first time I put them on, there was no break-in period at all, which is awesome.
No, that's always the
Cushy
wildest
from
part.
the start.
So cushy. And I have to touch on one of my favorite features, and that's that not only are they the best, they also are 100% machine washable. My favorite pair of ROTHYS right now has to be the bright white Chelsea sneakers. They are so adorable. But normally I don't get white sneakers because they're dirty in 2 wears, but not with ROTHYS. It's actually wild. I'm able to get so much more wear out of my ROTHYS than other pairs of shoes. And also Hello Children shoes. You can keep them clean, and they're so comfy for the kids, and they have so many cute patterns.
Check out the amazing shoes, bags, and masks available right now at rothys.com/chatty. That's rothys.com, rothys.com/chatty. Style and sustainability meet to create your new favorites. Just head to rothys.com/chatty today.
Well, let's get into this episode. Also, before we dive into this final episode, before we have a little break, broads, please stay with us through this break. We're going to be having so many fun episodes coming up.
Oh my gosh, they're going to be good.
We have Craig on Thursday. The Chatty Bros will continue. We're going to be doing a lot of sex Q&A questions. We have a lot of fun guests coming up. Also, we're going to continue to be talking about Bachelor Nation news because you know that's going to keep happening. And also other pop culture news. We know that you all love our pop culture episodes, so we'll be doing all those, and we're just gonna have a grand old time.
Yep.
I'm very excited.
Yep.
So
also Chatty Bros this week and a Craig episode this week, so you have been blessed.
you have been blessed.
You're
I
welcome.
cannot wait.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and if you're enjoying it, 5 stars, please. That's always so helpful.
Smash that Look, guys. All right, I haven't done this in a while.
Oh my god, here she goes. These are my favorite.
You guys. We see how many people listen to our podcast. We see how many people, message us, comment. We're very popular, our podcast. Basically the next Oprah's, if you will.
Oh my god.
Just kidding. That's slander to Oprah.
We could never. But Oprah, we love you so much. Please come on the pod.
Yeah, please come on the podcast. But with peace and love, many of you have not written reviews, not even smashed that 5-star like button, the 5-star review thing. You don't listen to me. I know you're driving right now. You're like, yeah, okay, here's what every podcast does. They beg me for 5 stars.
That's true.
Well, unlike other podcasts, we deserve it. And you can't
like all those other podcasts.
No. But listen, you don't even have to write a review. You don't, it's not like on Yelp, if you hit 5 stars, you have to write a review, or if you, but on Apple Podcasts, if you go on, you can literally scroll down and just tap 5 stars. You don't have to write a review. You could just tap the 5 stars, and it really helps because it boosts our podcast. And the more famous we get, hopefully one day we will have Oprah on, maybe just in a couple months, if enough of you guys
just
hit
a
the
couple
5-star review.
months.
So if you
Definitely.
want Oprah on the podcast, if you want anyone on the podcast that's famous and fun and interesting and cool, that's only going to happen if every single one of you hits the 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Thank you.
Honestly, you are maybe one of the best salespeople ever.
Thank you.
Ever.
Yeah.
Also, you can subscribe to the podcast too, because sometimes people will be like, why hasn't the episode come out yet? Because if there's a miniature delay or whatever, if you're subscribed, it pops up right away.
Yeah. If you want Oprah on the podcast, you also have to subscribe. Thank you.
Oh, and YouTube too. Anyways, after our Tyler Cameron merch style sales pitch is over.
Swipe up.
Okay, so let's get into this final week. Okay.
Let's just cover what we've got to talk.
Yes,
what we've got to cover.
Because let's be real, this finale episode could have been done it could have been 2 short paragraphs. I'll be real with you.
Okay, so we've got chunks just so we can do a little overview before we dive in. We've got Michelle meeting his family.
Yes.
We've got
Rachel meeting his family.
We've got the Michelle breakup.
Mm-hmm. Date and breakup.
We've got the ring picking out.
Yeah, correct.
Mm-hmm. And then we've got the weird fireplace non-engagement.
Correct.
scene.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay, well,
start.
first of all, we meet his mother and his brother. We haven't ever really heard of his brother, who I guess
No, he's mentioned him in passing. Like, you know, my brother's always got my back.
and
blah,
he's a
blah.
musical artist. So he has like a Spotify. And
Have you listened?
I haven't listened yet. I'm going to. I really enjoyed his brother. What's with the brothers? I love all of the brothers on the show that
love his interrogations of the women.
Oh, he was fantastic. Can I tell you, I could not stand harder when I see a man with like cool fashion who's like calm and confident drinking a glass of white wine. Bitch. I'm drooling. Do you understand? I'm just like, now that is my kind of man. He is sitting there with a glass of white wine the whole time. He is, and then he takes Michelle away and he's got the refill of the white wine, and with Rachel, he loves his white wine, and I'm just like, please, I love you. I love you. I love a man who drinks white wine.
He's
I just
Scorpio.
So attractive
His
to me.
Instagram is John the Scorpio.
And you're a Scorpio on top of everything? John?
He also has weird devil symbols on his Instagram.
Okay, that's a little frightening. I won't lie to you. That picture just kind of scared me. It's a cartoon.
$sign Scorpio 777. So, but he loves the Lord. I don't really know what's going on.
I'm a little confused.
But anyway, I still loved his energy.
But loved his energy, loved his style, loved him drinking white wine.
I also love
that you're a Scorpio, apparently.
I also love that both Matt and John really like love their mom. Like even John's Instagram, his very first photo is from Valentine's Day, and it's just with a little heart with his mom on a horse. Like they're both so obsessed
Patty.
with her.
They love Patty so much. And did you notice that I don't know if I think it was when Patty was first sitting with Rachel.
Look at her Instagram. Sorry, it's her eye getting all artsy.
Yeah, I saw that. Patty is out here living. I don't know if you noticed, but when she was first sitting either with Michelle or Rachel, we had John, his interview, which by the way, he gives a great interview. His interview saying like, listen, if mom approves, then we'll see if this has longevity. And I was like, okay, so this is important. But Patty, let me talk about Patty. To the most extreme, not what I was expecting, reactions. I thought Patty was going to be cold as ice, not the queen of tears. Okay.
I was confused by everything. And that's why she scares me and intimidates me, because she is unreadable. Look at this Instagram post. I'm going to put down the Instagram in a second, but she posted this Instagram post of like a massive crocodile on a bridge
as a
with
hard
the caption,
post?
with the caption, "Yikes, intimidating until ... I remember God is in control and he loves me." Heart emoji prayer hands.
Patty, love you so much. So happy that you feel peace of the Lord, but please do not get near a crocodile. I don't care how protective the Lord is. Let's not risk it. They are a dangerous species.
She also like posts funny memes on her Instagram too, like, haha, hilarious.
My most favorite thing is the older crowd doesn't understand Insta stories, that I'm like, you don't have to make this a hard post. This random photo of a crocodile. This could just be a story, honey. You don't have to make this a hard post at all.
Man. Yeah, Patty.
But you're so right. She's completely unreadable, and that's the scary part.
So intimidating.
Yeah, because she seems so cold, and like she's gonna be like, so intense, and you're not gonna be able to impress her at all. And then the waterworks. I've never seen more. I don't think we've ever seen someone cry as much on The Bachelor ever. In such a short amount of time, she cried 15 times.
Yeah, which I understood why then she connected with Rachel, who is Waterworks City.
Correct.
And I'm not cry shaming either. I'm just like, okay, I'm getting a vibe for, I don't know. I just, anyway, continue.
No, you're right, because I was thinking about that with Michelle.
Yeah.
So my thought was, before I saw that Patty was the queen of crying, which again, no cry shaming, I would have been like, oh my God, I feel so accepted that you're crying about something I'm saying.
Oh yeah, if someone's mom that I just met started crying when
I'd
I was
be
talking
like,
about her son, I'd be like, yes,
got this one in the bag.
Yep. Secured.
But I was thinking, as soon as I started to see that, I was like, oh, I think Rachel's gonna be the favorite in this situation because Michelle is so calm, cool, and collected. Yeah. Michelle has such peaceful energy that I felt like her energy matched his family. Yeah. They're all super low key, but I was like, oh, his mom is going to want someone who is crying and saying like, your son deserves the world. He is everything, versus Michelle was having, more of like a mutual conversation versus like everything about your son is incredible and I love the Lord and all that.
Which I honestly think was similar with Matt's relationship to each one of them too. Mm-hmm. Like I just noticed, although there was good communication between him and Michelle, I really noticed in this episode that it just wasn't like there to the same degree.
Yeah.
It honestly wasn't there with either of the women, to be completely honest. Like I've been talking about this the entire time we've been recapping this season, and my sincerest apologies, but I'm not going to stop. We've been watching, Ari's season. We've been watching Ari's season, and we just watched Hometowns. Gray and I, and it was just like the level of emotion and connection that like Ari was feeling with the women, even at Hometowns, like multiple of them, was just way beyond like the level that Matt seemed to be feeling with both of these women at the end of the whole journey. Like I just did not see as intense of a connection as we've seen in the past.
I was juggling the whole time, whether it's because of Matt's personality, because he is super low key. But I will say, after watching After the Final Rose and then actually really thinking last night, I was thinking about like him and Tyler and like how like wild and crazy he is when he posts with Tyler, and even like Quarantine Crew, he was always silly and wild and whatever. And I feel like I agree with you. I think that maybe he just didn't find his person.
I think so too. I think he also was so had to be so on guard throughout the whole season for the reasons that they talked about on After the Final Rose, that I think one, he's just is already guarded in love. And as we saw on this episode, I think he has so much emotional work to still go through, working through the trauma of his parents' relationship.
Yeah. It was this episode was like, Matt needs time for Matt.
Yeah. To do a little bit of soul searching. And I don't think that he like really knew until he was put through this process how much like work he still needed to do in that era. Because like as the show progressed, you started hearing like more and more about how much this relationship with his dad and his parents' relationship has affected him. So I think that is one thing, but then also just the position that he was in, being the first Black lead and all of this, was an extra wall up. And so I think even that if his quote, air quotes, person was there, I don't think he was like in a open enough place of no fault of his own to get there with that
And I
person.
was also thinking, on top of everything, on top of all of that, like you were saying about him like being in this position of being the first Black bachelor, I can only imagine that he did not have the support system that he needed behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry if like if Chris Harrison is going nuts on these interviews, okay, I just have a feeling that Matt probably, as much as I'm sure he loved producers and like had a relationship with them, likely did not have the support system that he needed, the right people to have conversations with going through this.
Yeah, people who would understand to some degree what he's going through.
But yeah, no, I think you're right. And I saw a lot of people just like online last night just giving him so much shit, being just like, so you made us go through this whole thing and you all of a sudden realize at the end that you're supposed to propose to somebody. And it's always the same thing. It's like, I really just, until you're in the situation, you don't know. And I'm sorry, but it wasn't like Matt pulled a fucking Pete where he's like, I'm going to choose all of them. And just like randomly starts like, you. No, you. No, I'm going to go back to you. No, after the final rose, I'm going to go back to you maybe. Like, it was like, no, he didn't want to hurt anybody.
Yeah, I thought it was really sincere. And he was like, this is a like extremely heavy decision. And come on, guys. We've seen how many of the engagements on The Bachelor have ended in breakups.
He was being very logical.
Like 90% of them. And I'm like, okay. Granted, I see people are a little fatigued because this is now 1, 2, 3, the third season in a row that hasn't ended in an engagement.
Bachelor season?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God. Do you know what we need? Do you know who we need?
Who?
We need fucking Mike Johnson. I am standing by Mike Johnson. Listen. And I know this might be awkward now. Sorry, Mike, because we actually know you.
Ben?
Mike, I don't want to make this awkward because we know you now. But I am more attracted to Mike as each day passes. Okay. Mike is just, I know Rebecca shook. No, but just like, I feel like, especially now post show, we're getting to know him more via his podcast and his book, and he's amazing and he's single. And it's like, come on, guys.
I know.
Mike is ready. Mike is ready to be married. Okay.
Totally.
And no shade to Matt. I really did enjoy Matt as much as the season was a nightmare. I just feel like Mike's had the experience of being on Bachelorette. He's had the experience of Bachelor in Paradise.
Yeah.
He's now been in the spotlight for many years. He has, I just feel like he's perfect.
He'd be great. I kind of hope for that reason that he doesn't go on Paradise.
Oh, you mean Mike Johnson?
Yeah. Like,
You
I wish...
think you think he's going to go back on Paradise?
I don't know. That's the I mean, that's the question. The big question, I think, right now is like, will Mike be going on Paradise? I think that's the question everyone wants the answer to at the moment.
Mike, please hold out.
Hold fast.
I mean, I would love to also see you on Bachelor in Paradise, but like, because there are so many good women too, though, that might be in Paradise.
I know.
Ooh, it's a tough one.
I know.
But I would love to have a whole season of Mike Johnson.
If not Mike, hear me out. Blake.
It would be entertaining.
I was trying to think if there's anyone from Tayshia's season. I think Matt would be great. I'm full support. I mean,
Blake from Tayshia's season. I thought you meant at first Blake.
No.
And I was like,
I'm in full. Whenever you're talking about Blake from Tayshia's season, I think you're talking about Blake H. Whenever I'm talking about Blake from Tayshia's season, you think I'm talking about Blake H.
I think
I'm in full support of Mike.
Yeah.
That's number one pick all the way.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Then I wouldn't hate
number
Blake
two
from
pick.
Tayshia's season.
Blake.
Because when I tell you the obsession continues to grow.
And now Katie won't be on Paradise, so we can't have our fantasy.
That's true.
I don't really want them together anymore. I changed my mind.
Do you think that do you think Blake will be on Paradise?
Yeah.
I sure hope so.
Oh my God. Like, he better be.
My obsession with Blake, it is rapidly growing. And Becca knows because I share so many of his Insta stories. He had a Q&A the other day and he was asking about like suggestions for favorite snacks. And he said someone said, which by the way, excuse me, rude. They said popcorn, like keep it light because you want to be trim for BIP. And he responded back and he said something like, I'm not a huge popcorn fan. Also, I don't know what a bip is. And he was very serious. Okay. And then another
he
question.
never knows what's going on in these stories,
and then another
dude.
question said dates and peanut butter. And a little asterisk said chef's kiss. And he goes, here's the thing with dates. Like I always see dates in the grocery store and I never really know what to do with them. So yeah, maybe I'll try dates with peanut butter. And apparently it's called a chef's kiss. Dates with peanut butter called a chef's kiss. Like he thought that was the name of dates with peanut butter.
I know, he's like a boomer on Instagram.
I am obsessed with him. Anyways, I'll be done.
I mean, he would be.
I love him so much. And I love his his relationship with his mom too. His mom is like she's an author and she does like self-help and empowerment and he always posts about his mom. Love like that. She's like this amazing woman. He's like, check out my mom's book. I'm just like, I love everything.
Okay, hear me
this.
out. I could see him getting completely crushed and heartbroken on Paradise, and that could be his lead into The Bachelor. I could see it. I could envision it. I'm manifesting it.
Like, we love you so much.
Can't you kind of see that happening?
I totally could.
Like because getting really just crushed.
Because he did become so beloved towards the end of Tayshia's. We were all everyone at first was like, what's the deal with this guy? And then everyone started falling in love with him. And by the way, you know how everyone's like, Blake always talks about sex?
Yeah.
I have a theory now because I think his mom talks about empowerment and like female sexuality. I think he talks about sex a lot from the perspective that he was raised by a woman who talks a lot about
I love
openly
that.
about sex. Yeah.
Love that.
These are my theories.
Okay, back to Michelle meeting Matt's family.
Sorry about it. Obviously, this episode was not packed. Yeah. So, I mean, she was amazing. I didn't expect anything other than that. She was right away. Mom was like, "I need a hanky. I'm gonna start crying." And she has a great conversation with Matt's brother. We find out that her last relationship, we didn't know this before, that she had a very serious relationship that ended in January.
Yeah.
That she said should have ended a while ago, which then makes me think, oh, is that what her dad was talking about when he made that comment about like what happened in February? I think that's what he said.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm like,
okay. Yeah, we were like, was there death in the family?
Yeah, it was like, what happened? So
Yeah.
something obviously happened. And she said it was a very unhealthy relationship. So I'm assuming that it has something to do with that.
That makes a lot of sense.
But, you know, he says that she could see Matt and Michelle. He could see Matt and Michelle together. And then
Matt's mom liked her.
Yeah, definitely. She's Michelle talks about, her mom, his mom, that was a big moment when his mom started to cry and says that Matt typically has chosen friends that come from strong families because she doesn't feel like she could give that to him. It was very intense. And I feel like Michelle was just so wonderful that she was just like, I'm grateful for the way that he grew up. And I'm sure that meant a lot to his mom, which she did start crying.
Probably validating.
Yeah.
I mean, but she cries a lot. So
I also had this feeling like the whole time I was watching this that I'm like, I feel like Patty needs some Barb in her life. Both mothers who the sons are like, you know, very dependent on them. But I feel like Patty could do good with some Barb in her life.
Barb can bring a little bit of spice into her life.
Barb would be like, honey, I don't know why you're not back on the market yet.
Right.
You are hot, hot, hot. Let's go out, get dressed up, get drunk on some margaritas, and go dance at our local like dive bar.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, she's like, let's drive on down to Javier's. And I could see Barb totally being like, I'm going to go give him your number.
Oh my God.
Like a kind of like a Ramona vibe, you know?
And Patty'd be like, Barb, stop. Like, I don't know. I don't think he's looking at me. He's totally looking at you. You are so hot. Did you see yourself in those pants? Give me your number. Come here.
And if she would have her dressed up like Sandra D in the Grease, she'd come out in the Grease. What am I, 80? She'd come out like in Grease, some black leather pants, some black boots, black leather.
The hair has like the 50s like
she
curl
would
in
rock
front.
some tight black leather. I'm telling you.
She would. Yeah, she would.
Killing it. Okay. Anyway. Did you feel ever like Matt's mom? This is where I can't read her. I don't feel like we're going to talk about the same thing, but
okay.
But you looked like we were.
Yeah.
But do you ever feel like when he's talking to her, like she's sort of looking at him like as if it's the first time he's ever said anything like what he's saying to her? Like I cannot read her expressions.
No, I can't read her expressions at all. It's very very frightening.
Like it almost looked like at one point when Matt was talking to her after she talked to Michelle, where she was just like, oh, like this is how you're going to talk to me now, like on national television, like when everyone's watching. Like, I don't know.
No, I know. I got that a little bit too. I also, though, noticed that...
But I feel like we're probably just misreading it.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, clearly he knows how his mom's facial expressions are and we just don't.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But his brother did say that Matt never talks about relationship stuff. So...
I think it's really triggering for her, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
All the comments that she keeps bringing up of like love isn't everything, like love isn't the end all be all, like relationships come and go and love fades and it's not, you know. I think that she's like to no fault of her own put maybe like they've experienced a lot of that trauma secondhand through their mom's experience.
Yeah.
And I think that Matt maybe doesn't. I think he probably feels really uncomfortable talking about this stuff with his mom because I think he probably feels her pain.
It seemed like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then seeing the effect afterwards, definitely.
Yeah.
I was more thinking about the moment where Matt and his mom were talking and he was caressing her leg the same way that he does every single woman that he's spoken to, then starts making out with on the show.
I missed that.
Did you end up seeing clips of it?
No. Was it circulating on the gram?
I mean, I just got a few broads sending me messages just like, did you notice this? And I was like, oh, yes, I did. I did indeed. And you know, it's like we love a
Show me now. Show me right now. You should have showed me yesterday. Okay.
It was a lot.
Okay.
It was a lot.
Okay.
And you know,
just showed me the video and you know,
Listen, I try to be like, listen, we all have our different levels of affection, but I will tell you that it's the same exact move when he is talking to like, Rachel or Michelle or whatever. And I always notice, because I've always specifically noticed that he always does the leg thing, because I always think about it because he has such big hands. And every time I look at it, I'm like, oh my God, his hand is literally, it could wrap around her entire leg when he's doing that to the women. I always think about it.
Well, that made me feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah,
but
it was
also,
a little weird.
But also, I hate when people get weird about affectionate parent-child relationships that obviously aren't weird. When people are like that, where they're like, why do you kiss your mom or your dad like goodbye? Like, that's weird. And it's like, well, okay, I do hate when people do it, but that was weird.
Honestly, I will be real. Probably I feel uncomfortable by it because of trauma from my family, because they didn't give me enough affection. Right. So I'm just jelly. Right. Is the point. That I just wish that like my mom would just give me a smooch and just smother me. Yeah,
I wish my parents would just like caress my legs.
I wish that they'd give me a massage. For real. So maybe that's just my own shit.
No, that definitely.
But it was a little. It was a little funky.
Maybe keep that in the privacy of your own home.
Yeah, well, their date wraps, they're looking beautiful in the snow, but I will tell you, as soon as the car pulled up with Rachel, Matt's facial expression, the way he embraced her, I was like, he's picking Rachel. Like, it was
also
immediate.
The amount of nervousness that he went into his family meeting Rachel was completely different.
And I don't know if you noticed, but he was like, I guess this could have been edited out, but it felt like he was talking up Rachel a lot more to his mom and his brother.
Like he had to explain his relationship with her to them so that they would validate it. And
as he told the camera, Michelle checks all the boxes to being the perfect wife, and he's really attracted to Rachel.
Yeah.
That's kind of where it landed,
Yeah.
Which is honestly, I think, why every single one of these past Bachelor seasons hasn't worked. Because every guy goes with the girl that he is most physically and sexually attracted to, not the person that he knows actually is what he's looking for.
They need to cast an older man, like just like they did the Claire thing. They need to cast an older dude.
I wonder if Ty Pennington's single.
Oh my God, bitch. Honestly, though, he's old enough to be on like the seniors Bachelor casting now.
Delish.
Which Patty should be on. Like, please.
I feel like
because they're casting again. You've seen the commercials.
Yeah, I think Patty would be very kind of stiff the first few episodes, and then she'd meet the right guy to like let her hair down and would party. And then that's when you bring Barb in. They're like, Barb's gonna be one of the guests on the episode, and Barb's like, we're gonna have like a dancing.
I haven't thought about this. Obviously, Barb is going to host.
Of course, Barb
going to host a date
Peter
or a group
Senior
date.
Are going to be hosting.
Brill.
Of course. And they will just literally pretend like The Bachelor is what brought them together.
They're going to rewrite history. Totally.
Of course.
I love that.
They'll be like, we were about to get a divorce.
Yeah.
And honestly, we had one conversation with Chris Harrison, because they're huge Chris Harrison stans, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And they're just like one convo with Chris Harrison, and that wedding, when we renewed our vows and Maddie was there with Peter and the cameras, it changed everything. And we thank The Bachelor for our 30-year marriage.
They're so disgusting. I can't wait to see them host it. Okay, so Rachel meets his family.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I would be so terrified of meeting his mom. Rachel says some shit, and his mom is just like, well, is that your natural go-to? And it's just like immediately interrogating.
Yes. When she was like, well, I was really open with him.
Oh, yeah.
Or he said, like, she was really vulnerable with me and open with me. And
Matt's mom was just like, so you're always like that? Or
do you never shut up? Or
do you listen to my son? Let him speak?
Well,
that's actually debatable after the final roast went. Okay, I can't wait. I am you.
Yeah,
girl. Yeah.
So yeah, basically, she ends up winning over Mama big time. She's like, I'm in awe of him. She says that her faith in God is really important, and when he prayed first over her, and then they're both crying. Now, I will tell you this interesting piece to me is that we didn't really ever see, considering that this season started off with Matt talking about God like 5 times in the first episode and praying over them. We did not see any conversations.
They probably cut it out.
Which was surprising to me, considering how the season started off. I was like, this is going to be the Jesus season. But I did think back when she was when she started crying about this and talking about how important her faith in God is. I did remember the first episode where she was crying. And I texted you about this, where she was crying and after the prayer, and one of the girls goes up to her and is like, "Oh my God, you're so emotional. Like, are you super religious?" And she's like, "Yeah, but it's more like, I just appreciate that he," or something. And you and I both were like, that's interesting, because we were debating because we couldn't read. We're like, it doesn't seem like she's actually super religious the way that she said that to a
I don't know,
girl.
but I do remember the way the girl asked it was just like, "Oh, are you religious?" Yeah. And like, you know, that question's so annoying. Just being like, "Oh, are you religious?"
And you're like, I don't want to be that person.
Yeah, like when you be like, all of a sudden you're like, "Jesus is my everything." I mean, I guess you could be, but I think she's just like, yeah, but like it was more. I kept seeing people in my DMs and I was like, guys, that's a stretch. She never said like, no, she wasn't religious. She was just like trying to not make it a big thing.
I just feel like I was confused in that moment. Because I was like, oh, is this girl religious? I couldn't quite tell because of the way that she reacted. And at first, when she started crying, and then she wasn't like, yeah, Jesus means a lot to me, or my faith is really important to me, or whatever, that I was like, why is she like crying?
I think,
and now it makes more sense to me.
Yeah,
though.
I think she just didn't want to make it awkward. I think like I always got the vibe that she was a believer, a follower of.
I'm just now so curious how many women on the season actually were, because we never got to know that. And since that is something that's so important to him, you'd think that, you know, they would share it, I guess. But also too, Tayshia is a Christian and talks about her faith a lot, and they didn't show that at all. It's always surprising to me that they don't. I think that they have a large demo of people who are Christians.
They have a lot in the past, like Ben's season or Sean's season. It seems like they've kind of cooled it off. No, we saw a lot of it with Maddie and Pete, but obviously that was sort of the foundation for their rift.
Yeah, interesting.
So,
just an interesting note. So yeah, I mean, then Matt and his conversation. Rachel leaves. It goes well. Matt and his conversation.
Oh my God, his poor fam. I'm sorry, Matt just in that moment needed them to be like,
I know,
you've got this, Matt. Like,
I know.
Both these girls are great.
Yeah.
No, but actually it was for the best, because he shouldn't have proposed to either of them. So it was for the best. It was just difficult to watch.
Oh, it was so hard to watch.
I just felt so bad for him.
I know. He seemed super like pumped. And it was, you know what it was? It was kind of the same conversation that we saw with Serena P's family, where they were like, are you sure though? Like, we support you, whatever you want to do. Like his brother said, anything you do, I support you. I love you. But like, you don't have to get engaged.
Yeah. This seems like a lot.
All the producers in the background just like, what?
They're just like,
I thought you communicated this with them.
They're just like banging their heads into the walls.
But I mean, that's when his mom, the vibe did change. It went from being like very cry and saying that she really liked both of the women.
And she was like, love isn't everything.
I just want to remind you that love is not everything.
And I'm like, well, but it is everything on this show.
Yes.
That's kind of the premise.
As Chris Harrison communicated later. Yeah, I mean, his mom says that I know that they both love you, but feelings come and go. Telling someone you love them opens up someone's heart. People fall in and out of love. And listen, it was ominous, but it was true.
Where's the lie?
Where's the lie? It was like she was speaking truth. It was like, she was like, hey, if you tell one of these women that you love them, this makes the whole thing very different. And then you could really hurt someone even more. If you propose to them and then you change your mind, you're not sure. This is a whole different, and it's true. But I felt bad for Matt.
Totally.
Because then it's just like, then all of a sudden he's spiraling. And he just, like last week, had this intense conversation with his father that shouldn't have aired. But he had that, where it's like he had all those feelings. Now he goes into this. And it brought on all of the confusion.
Okay, so then let's go into the next scene where Chris is bullying him.
Chris is straight up bullying him, okay? I've never seen Chris look so angry on screen.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he was getting possessed by, like, I don't know, the spirit of someone.
The spirit of reality television was
compelling
fueling him.
Yeah.
ABC was just like, all he could hear was the execs in his ears being like, well, it's been a few seasons and the ratings are down because the love actually hasn't conquered in the end. So
maybe you've lost your touch, Chris.
Yeah, Chris,
we thought you
I
were the
don't know.
master of the love, the master of engagement.
We thought you were the king matchmaker. Why isn't it working, Chris? And he's just like,
That's why he's defending Rachel so hard. He's like, she is a beautiful, sweet cupcake girl who wouldn't want to spend the rest of her... Nat, this perfect woman for you. Your union shall be blessed in my eyes.
but it was so wild because Chris came in with big yacht club energy. First of all, big yacht club energy. He had a zip up navy sweater on. He had like a really big faced boating watch.
He's like, I'm
it
not
was a
gonna
huge
lie.
watch.
I love Nima Cohen.
He's like, I've been hitting the sails. I've been learning a thing or two. I'm not sure if it's close to the water, but maybe he's hitting that lake with
He's
a little
like,
boat.
Matt, check out these knots that I've been practicing.
I've just been in my room. I have thousands of them. I don't know the different names of knots, but I really wished I did in that.
Ship knots, sailing
knot,
knots, a sailor's knot,
boat knot, captain knot,
astronaut.
crew. I like it.
Okay. So
yeah, he is like,
basically, long story short, Matt's just like, my guy, I don't know. And Chris is like, but really, does one ever know? Just go for it. And then eventually he's like, so what you're saying is you don't want to get engaged. And he's like staring at me. He's like, look in my eyes, Matt. What you're saying? I'm not angry, just disappointed.
It was so, and Matt's like sitting like this, and Chris is looking at him, just like. It was insane.
Shaking with rage.
All I saw in his eyes was like, like the angry determination of, I will get you to that proposal spot and I will get you to propose. Like,
Mike Fleiss is like, you're getting a bonus this year if you can get someone engaged.
Yeah. But it's
Chris is like, my bonus, my Hawaii house. No, it's slipping through my fingers.
now I'm only going to be able to afford Kihei, not Wailea.
Sweet cotton candy, Rachel.
I just like, his eyes were aflame of like, I will get you to the proposal spot to make you have this conversation there.
Horrifying.
Like it was almost this energy of like, I don't fucking care if you are miserable or if you end up turning this woman down, but I will get you to the proposal spot, which by the way, they did. Because then later, Rachel gets the quote unquote note from Matt that was like, meet me at the lake, super nonchalant, let's talk about it. It's the damn proposal spot. And I'm like, that note did not give off proposal energy. That was like, hey, let's meet by the lake.
Yeah, Matt was like, let's meet by the lake. And then they're like, oh, Matt, why don't you go ahead and stand over here? A little to the left, a little to the left. Oh, would you look at this? Look at this beautiful pergola fire setup.
Matt's like about to put one of his turtlenecks on and a sweater. And they're like, why don't you just put this suit on? We're just doing a fitting. We're just doing a quick fitting. Can you hop in the car? Carrie's down the way. He's down the way. Just hop in the car quick. That's what it felt like. I couldn't believe it. That's all that Chris wanted. He's like, I'm going to get you to the proposal spot where you have to have this conversation in person with her on a knee.
Yeah.
And he was so scary. And he's just like, there's a lot to unpack. This is not the guy I was talking to a week ago.
I could not believe that. That was the part where I was like, he's about to kill him.
And then he said, well, and then Matt came back. Matt was coming back for him. And I was just like, yes, Matt. And he was like, yeah, well, that's how I felt. And I still feel, but you're silly if you don't get new perspectives when you hear about new things and new situations. And then Chris basically said, what, because your dumbass mom said that love wilts and ends. And then he said, what kind of greeting card is that? Which is, a smart way to think about your life. I couldn't believe it. He literally was like, what? Because your mom said love wilts and dies? Sounds like a great greeting card, Matt. I mean, these were his words.
I'm like, oh, so life is like a Hallmark card now. Like, that's how we're making decisions here?
Yeah, sounds
Oh, is that how your
logical.
marriage went, Chris?
Oh, Chris. Yep.
Your marriage was like a Hallmark card,
Right?
right?
Is this what you suggest?
And it's also Chris, a master of his craft, did not say Hallmark. He said greeting card because he knows branded. Don't get that line cut.
Oh my God. He is a master of his craft, as much as I hate to admit it. He did definitely say greeting card.
Mm-hmm.
He never uses any product names unless he is getting hefty cash.
He's like, would you like a clean tissue? Winks at the camera.
You want to put a little snack in a Ziploc plastic baggie?
That is so funny.
You go into Chris's own personal home, you open the refrigerator, and all the soda is covered just in his own home. You can't see any labels in this house unless I'm getting paid for it. You're not seeing any what my cereal boxes look like.
Would you like a soda? A pop?
You want a little glass of some tequila? I mean, oh Lord, incredible. But he was pushing him back, and he was, Matt's saying it's the easy thing for me to jump in without being sure. So that would be easy for me, yes, to propose to somebody, but I'm trying to think of what could hurt someone, and
Yeah.
Chris walks away, and Chris has
Matt's like, I want a healthy, lasting relationship. Chris is like, that's not what this is about.
It's about love, passionate love, illogical love. Just jump into any decision. Chris left, by the way. He had one hand in his pocket, and you saw him exiting, and I felt like I saw him shaking. That as soon as the camera was cut, he just took the axe that's outside the house, stuck in the wood, and just was like, "Fuck!" Just chucked the axe. And the producers are like, "Chris is having one of his things again."
Chris is like, Polly, I need to do some archery today. Let some steam off. I want another one of those hot stone massages. The handlers are like, oh no, Chris is angry again. Oh, no. Do you think he'll...
I guess it's time to bring Neil Lane in for one of the conversations. He's a lot more gentle.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
The housekeepers in his suite are like, he's like, get out! When he gets back, out! Throws the do not disturb sign on the door. He's just wrecking suite after suite this whole season.
Everyone thinks he's just like this rock star, but he's just so angry that no one's proposing.
He's tearing down the shower curtain. And
they're like, wow, Chris is like
pillows.
this big Motley Crue type guy. Like the curtains are gone. Like, what is he doing in there? He's partying. It's just like, no, he's raging because the love isn't working.
Just like pushing the TV off the thing. It's just this montage of him just like chucking stuff out the balcony, from the suite.
Honestly, I like this Chris we've created a lot better.
Me too. He's way more fun. Okay, so Michelle's date.
Before we get into Michelle's date, you want to take
let's do it.
A little pause. Well, broads, listen, the weather is starting to warm up a little bit. Spring is coming here, okay? I mean, at least in Los Angeles, I know some of you all are still ankle deep in snow, and I'm sorry, but just try to imagine the spring sun, the warm breezes, they're on their way to you. And with the warmer weather, all I want to do is spend every second outside. It's just one of my favorite times of year, and this year I'm even more excited because I've decided to upgrade our outdoor space with some pieces from Article's newest outdoor collection.
Wow.
Yeah,
Girl,
yeah.
I saw some of your pieces as you were putting that little outdoor space together. I saw that.
Yeah,
I'm just excited as you are. I'm fully inviting myself over for some backyard hangs this summer. Be warned, be forewarned.
You are welcome anytime.
You know what? I'm coming just for the Article because Article pieces are the best when it comes to any area of your home. But their newest outdoor collection is just next level, people. Everything from solid teak dining sets to rattan sectionals. The designs are amazing and the quality is, if you can believe it, even better.
I mean, it's honestly shocking how beautifully built all of Article's pieces are because the prices are so fair. The reason being, Article cuts out all of the middlemen. No showrooms or salespeople means that they can cut their cost and pass the savings right on to their customer. And the cherry on top, fast shipping with a hassle-free 30-day return policy and super simple exchanges. The team at Article has thought of everything.
Girl, every time we do one of these ads, I quickly zoom over to the article.com site and I just looked and I'm like, wow, blown away.
Yeah.
Blown away.
So many cute pieces.
And Article's offering our listeners $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. So go to article.com/chatty and the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. Again, like I've said before, there are some pieces that are just a little over $100. So you get them basically 50% off when you use this code.
Yes.
So anyway, go to article.com/chatty. Discount will automatically be applied at checkout. That's article.com/chatty. You're going to get your $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more.
Mm-hmm. Oh, broads, who we've not been able to sing this little ditty in person for so long. It's only been over Zoom. So Becca, let's sing it. It's time to talk about FabFitFun.
Oh my God, a crescendo.
Oh my God. And it was kind of jazzy too.
Oh, I have chills.
Oh, wow. It was so good. So good, like FabFitFun. FabFitFun is the premium subscription box that has everything you need to show yourself a little bit of love giftiness, okay? They just launched their box for the spring season, and I'm telling you, broads, it's the best one yet. So many good things in this box.
Yeah. The spring box is themed Grow Forth, and so it's all about personal growth. And like Jess said, it's all about loving on you. Mm-hmm. And not only that, it features amazing products from 20 female-founded brands. So you're pretty much guaranteed to find some of your new favorite things in there. With each box, you're going to get a whole amazingly curated set of full-size beauty, wellness, and home products from some of the best-selling brands on the market. So this season's box features items from brands like Grown Alchemist, Cocoa Floss, MAC, Splendid, and so many more. So when my box shows up on my doorstep, I swear I'm like a kid in a candy store just going through everything.
It's pretty hard to pick favorites this season, but if I had to, I would say the Short Stories LED indoor planter is top of the list because I've always wanted to be able to grow my own herbs, and I've been trying unsuccessfully to do so for years. So yes, this indoor planter is everything. And also the Splendid faux fur slippers, which I have not been taking off until actually like 30 minutes ago.
Nice.
They are so comfy.
Order your spring box today. Sign up now so you can snag amazing products like the Splendid faux fur slippers or the Short Stories planter. When you customize, use coupon code CHATTY for $10 off your first box at www.fabfitfun.com. Again, that's fabfitfun.com, $10 off your spring box.
All right. Well, Michelle and Matt's one-on-one. I mean,
nothing really happens. They go down the side of the building. I'm like, why couldn't I rappel down the side of the mansion if they get to rappel down the side of Nema Colon?
You know, that's all I was thinking about as I was just picturing you rappelling down the side of the mansion.
So
and I'm like,
rude.
what the heck? I also have this like theory that the guy who is having the rappelling guy is the same guy as the zipline guy from earlier on that they had, and also on the skydiving and also on the farm.
I kind of felt that.
I think it's the same guy. I think like Nema Colon has one guy that does everything.
I would completely believe that.
You know?
Yeah.
I also saw someone post, you know, where they rappelled then to that heart, like bullseye.
Yeah.
And there were giant red flags all around it. And everyone was like, Michelle, notice the giant red flags that you're rappelling to.
Take note.
It was incredible, but also so sad. So, yeah.
I mean, what else happens? Nothing really on that date.
No, nothing. Except me picturing them rappelling down the side of the building and Chris being in one of the rooms and then them peeping in and seeing him destroying furniture.
They see a TV fly out a window. They're like, what was that? Producers are like, hey, look over there, a falcon.
A local bird. Local vegetation.
All of a sudden, they're Blake. Wow, check out that spotted hair over there darting into that manzanita. Okay, I don't know. Okay. Basically, then in the evening portion of the date,
yeah, he is. We all know what's. I mean,
we know what's
he is on
happening.
edge.
Also, Michelle knows what's happening. She's like, "So, can you get there emotionally? Like, do a proposal?" She knew the answer to that question.
Oh my god!
And then the jerseys.
I know.
You know, so that was some producer's idea.
I know.
And she's like, "Okay."
I know.
Being the amiable, sweet thing that she is.
I know. She's so lovely.
I don't even want her for Bachelorette. They're going to put her through this stupid show again. She doesn't even deserve that. She honestly does not.
Can I tell you something about Michelle?
What?
And I think I said this to you earlier, but
What?
I want the broads to know. And also, my TV was cutting like crazy during the Bachelorette announcement. Was that happening to anybody else?
My TV was cutting through this whole episode.
Really? Okay.
I don't know why.
Bachelorette, I literally don't even, like, I saw who was announced and all that, but I don't know if they said this on the show. They had Katie they have Katie and Michelle. And the reason that Katie is going first is because they offered the position of Bachelorette to Michelle. Yeah. And Michelle was like, I don't want to keep missing the school year for my kids. And she turned down the Bachelor for her children.
Not even her children.
No, her school kids. And was like, no, I want to finish up the year with them because I think they get to go in person now because of the slowing down of the pandy.
Yeah, the pandy.
And
never heard that. I love that.
And now she gets it in February. But the fact that are you kidding me?
Don't subject her to this show. Don't do it. Do not. She's too innocent.
If you hurt Michelle.
No, she is going to be, because this show, like we've been talking about, it doesn't matter how you fucking restructure it, to be honest. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter. I mean, it would be way better, so I'd love that. But it doesn't matter if you get a black host and all the producers. The nature of reality TV is extremely exploitative, and it is emotionally abusive to the people who participate in it. And we love to watch it. We love to see it. But Michelle does not deserve that. Don't put her through that. She is too pure.
My only hope in this is that Michelle screams, "Marry me!" Right? You look at Michelle, and I'm
so
like,
we're praying for a Tayshia situation.
Yes, I see Michelle, and I go, I want to marry you, and I'm hoping that because of this marry me energy, that the right guys audition for the show, and she has a few really incredible guys, like how Tayshia had some great options who really want to marry her.
Yeah, we're praying, we're hoping and praying and manifesting,
and she still really hasn't done anything on social media.
I know. She's too pure.
She's too pure and perfect.
She doesn't deserve it. I don't even know.
Well, that's what we're going to get. And what I will tell you, I was on the floor is when she was just like asking Matt what he was thinking about. He's like, I don't know. And he's like, I didn't sleep at all. It's all becoming real. I'm having doubts. And he's like, the easiest thing would be to tell you what you want to hear. And she's like, I'm not okay with that. And then when she said, I've never seen her look so hard. Like she looked, it was a facial expression we've never seen on Michelle, like just devastated. And she was like, am I supposed to fight for you? Am I not supposed to fight for you? Like, what are you actually feeling? And then he says, I don't think I could get there with you. I've been a fan of Matt. This I was not a fan of. The swiftness that this happened, Becca, was wild. It was like
over and out.
It was one of the quickest breakups we've seen on the show.
We didn't even really see anything from Michelle, like nothing on that episode. We obviously saw her after the final rose, but we didn't really see
no.
Did we even see her leave?
Very briefly, car? like a quick, little quick. That's it.
I mean,
and this is his number 2. And the breakup was, he's like, I don't think I could get there with you, and she's just like in shock. And then they just silently stand up, and he gives her a hug and just closes the door and walks out. And then,
you know what? I think he can't stand himself kind of in these moments.
Yeah.
I think again, he's kind of triggered, and it's he
doesn't want to hurt her. So he's like, I can't see you hurt. I can't see you hurt. I can't see you hurt. Here's the thing though. We then end up getting tea later from Michelle and after the final rose where she says, and this is where she was angry, is she's like, I needed closure. Obviously, that was the fastest thing we've ever seen.
I'm normally one to be like, okay, about the closure thing, but yeah, it was just kind of
it was a blip.
They were like, all right, get on out the door. Here's your limo.
If I was Michelle, I literally would have been like, oh, is he coming back? It was so quick and he walked out that I was like, oh, it kind of almost seems like he needed a minute.
I'm sure there was a conversation with producers where she'd be like, is Matt gonna see, am I gonna see him to the car? And they're like, no, go get in the car.
Well, and then she said that she needed closure, and she asked the producers, I need to talk to Matt. I need just a couple minutes with him. And she said, I specifically said, I'm not gonna try to sway him. I'm not going to try to change his mind. I just need to have an ending conversation.
Do you think that was Matt, or do you think that was producers?
No, I think that it was producers, because she thought it was Matt, because then producers told her, right? Matt said he doesn't want to. And then when Matt comes out and he said, if I would have known that, I would have done everything I could to have that conversation. And I believe Matt.
I believe him
because
too.
we've seen Matt go and extend
has integrity.
himself.
He wouldn't have done
He's also
that.
he's gone and extended himself with women that he's barely known.
Producers
like,
were
going and talking to Heather for a long. I mean, like it's like
you know what it was. Producers were pushing as hard as they could for a Matt engagement to Rachel in that moment. They were worried that the conversation was just going to go somehow. Things were already shaky and kind of walking on eggshells, trying to get him even to the point of a proposal.
Yep.
And they were like, we can't do anything to possibly jeopardize this with it, which is fucked because they had a relationship. And again, exploitative, emotionally manipulative and abusive situation. And Matt just doesn't want to talk. They didn't tell Matt. They didn't tell Matt anything.
No, of course they didn't. And the fact when he said verbatim, I would have done anything I could. Or I would have done anything. He literally said I would have done anything to have that conversation. And I believe it. Like, I really do. And I think after she heard him say that in After the Final Rose, then she said, to Emmanuel, she's like, I'm a forgiving person. I really just needed this conversation and it's put to rest now. Like,
totally.
But if you think, from her perspective, if you think this guy who is what maybe leading me on this whole time, I don't know what just happened, now won't talk to me for 5 minutes to give me closure, I'd be raging.
Yeah.
I'd be like, fuck this guy. Are you kidding me? Yeah. And especially if you're someone like Michelle, who it doesn't seem like she is like this Bachelor stan.
Yeah.
Doesn't know,
understand.
someone like one of us goes on the show and we go, this might be a producer thing as much as it hurts. You kind of have that in the back of your head.
Sure.
Anyways, very upset about that.
Well, okay. I gotta say, I expected a lot more out of the scene where he's on the sidewalk and Chris Harrison is sitting down next to him. I'm like, this is the climactic. I mean, this whole episode, I was like, this is the climactic ending we've been waiting for. But oh my God, some of the lines that he got in there, like when he said, my dad seems like someone who won't ever be ready for marriage. I was just like, I know. That's rough.
And then by the way, I made a note. So when Matt is talking about that he can't stop thinking about his mom and he brings up his mom again, I believe wholeheartedly that Chris went hard on him again and they edited it out.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Because you saw some of Matt's facial expressions and some of Chris's facial expressions and you could tell that the editing was there. And I'm like, he went harder on him and they cut that shit out because they don't want him to look at it.
He's like, Matt, you got to let that go. You got to tune out literally anything in your life that's informed your experience or, the way you see the world. Tune it out.
Think of yourself as being a newborn and you were just birthed into the Bachelor experience. You have no trauma. There's nothing that's affected your life so far. It is just Bachelor.
Think about your emotional intelligence and logic and rationale just flatlining, and almost imagine yourself like slipping into a coma and imagine me taking over your brain and then imagine that you're just going to do everything I say and you will propose to that beautiful, poor, sweet girl. And they're staring at Matt like that. He's like, and they're like, we're going to need to cut this. Post-production, we're just putting in a note right here. Please make sure to edit out Chris growling and threatening the lead. Thank you.
Please, can you please edit the part when Chris becomes possessed by the devil? Just cut that part. And then the guys in post-production like, oh shit, that happened again? Yeah.
No, we need a note. We are on it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We got you.
We'll make a seamless transition. We'll put something about Bird Box in there to make it just,
funny moment. Hey guys, can you make sure? We know Matt's already left the scene. Can we just make sure to get some B-roll of Chris sitting there looking like he's listening to Matt? We didn't really get that. The past 10 minutes. It was kind of a lot of Chris steamrolling over what Matt was saying. Can we just, Chris, just sit there.
Yeah,
just look at that bush.
Yeah,
and just nod your head.
We're gonna need Chris edited out and have him just sitting there instead because mostly what we got was him hovering a few inches above the ground on fire. So just cut that and just have him come back and sit once he cools off a little bit. Just give him a glass of water.
Just right there on that spot, that bush. Yep, nod the head. Guys, can we get a little more powder? His forehead's looking a little shiny. He's just dripping in sweat after the devil possessed him.
He's looking a little sweaty after his levitation. Just a little bit of...
Do we have another black shirt? That other one disintegrated on his body when he spontaneously combusted into flames.
my stomach.
Hey guys, can we do a little touch up on Matt? His eyebrows got singed a little from Satan's fire leaping over.
Oh my god.
Whew. Oh man.
Matt's eyebrows are completely gone. Oh my god.
Matt is like, I do not ever want to see that man again. They're like, don't worry, we got a different host replacing him on After.
Oh my god, I am actually dying. Oh.
Well, anyway, then Chris comes to tell Rachel that there's no date.
As he's leaning against the doorpost like a lover.
She's like, I can smell that, like, you've been in touch with the Dark Lord recently.
You're like, she's like, have you been camping? It smells like a fire.
Rustic. He's like, touching, I don't know what. I don't know. He's doing something.
Oh my god. Oh, I'll never be able to get that image out of my head. Of just him busting.
And he's like, I feel a little more energized. You notice a few wrinkles are missing,
Yes.
When he comes to with Rachel.
That's why
he swoops in and he's like, his arm is door. Sorry to bust in.
See, this is why he's aging, is because the only way that he stays young is when he is able to tap into the darkness and have these combusting moments. And because of, the
when
Bachelor,
he resists, it ages him, and
the
he's got to
Bachelor's
resist.
You need to resist now. You need to keep it cool.
Yeah.
Like, we have to, like, play this part. You know what I'm saying? And then he's just like,
wait until he shows up on Paradise. He's going to be, like, bald. He's going to look like, like Emperor Palpatine. Because he's going to be trying so hard to not let the darkness just completely overtake him and work through his body on the beach,
Oh my god, I can't breathe. Okay. Well, Rachel gets the disappointing news from the devil that Matt is emotional and that he needs time, and so sorry there's not going to be a date today, at least with Matt.
Okay, so
but there will be a date with him.
Hey, Rach, why don't we sit and have a cocktail?
Rach, you want to talk?
Champs?
You want some champers? Some lobster? Nemacolin, known for their lobster. I'm not sure. Well,
lobster catching, that's been one of the things he's been taking up on his...
That and the knots.
And the knots.
Definitely
so
that
he's
and the
like,
knots.
I can show you some of my knots.
He's like, I can open these lobsters with my bare hands. Just
We're like, is it Chris or is it Satan empowering him again? Now, Neil Lane talks to Matt. Now, I have to say, their little thing, like you said, Neil did give him some good advice.
I was
Neil
literally,
did.
as soon as they brought Neil in, I was like, for the love of God, like, why are you doing this to us? First, we see Chris about to combust. Now we have to see Neil Lane forcing a ring on Matt. But yes, Neil actually, he wants Chris's job, clearly.
I kind of have like a theory now that Neil is actually like, he is evil, but he's kind of like, I feel like he's actually sort of like an angel of darkness in a way.
Okay.
I sort of feel that he's counteracting Chris's energy in this, and he is actually like...
Are they brothers? And one is evil and one is good?
I mean, Neil's definitely a brother of darkness as well. However, I believe that he, in his old age, may actually be seen like some of the light and is like, we cannot let, like, maybe this evil has gone too far.
Yes, he sees Chris and he's like, it's too far for me.
Like, maybe one day he will sacrifice himself in order to do what's right. I don't know what that will look like.
Like a Spike and Buffy situation. Yes.
Now, I have to say, Matt gave what was probably one of the worst endorsements of a Neil Lane ring I've ever seen. Because after he talks to Neil and has the ring, he looks in the camera and goes, looks at the ring and goes, "This ring represents what my father couldn't give to my mother." And I'm like, Neil Lane is out there like,
He's like, please stop. This is not
exactly what my ring stands for.
This is not the commercial I was hoping for.
This ring represents the trauma that my entire family has endured with the struggles for commitment and the childhood trauma experience. That is what this ring represents.
Yes.
And Neil's like,
And he's like,
okay.
but Neil's like, but pear-shaped was my favorite. By the way, we find out from Neil Lane that pear-shaped was his favorite when he was little. His mom had a pear-shaped ring, all these things. And I'm like, we found out more about Neil Lane than we did about most of the women this season.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Yes, 100%.
He chooses the pear-shaped ring. You know, Neil is laughing at the idea that he's never held a ring before. This is madness. But now he holds this pear-shaped ring and is debating. And this is where I wrote down, I was like, and I don't mean this in a shady way. I mean this in like a wholeheartedly, like my heart was hurting because most of us do need therapy. But I was like, this is where Matt needed to be talking to a therapist, needed to be processing these thoughts.
No, instead
not
Matt
just alone in a room talking to Chris Harrison.
Yes, and instead Matt sat, he sat up all night staring at that ring.
Oh, yeah, and it was across the room.
I don't even know if it was overnight, but he was just like...
Yeah.
And he, it's like one of those scenes in a movie where he's dripping in sweat and the ring keeps coming closer in the room.
Yes.
Like, dun, and he blinks his eyes. Dun, it's even closer. Like, I feel like it was a psychological horror scene in his mind. Poor man.
Oh, poor man.
He was being tortured.
Yes, straight up. Well, Rachel was also having a rough night, not knowing what was about to happen. She was looking very sad in a robe the next day, and she receives a letter from Matt, and she's shocked it's not from Chris Harrison asking her to meet him by the lake, but instead it is from Matt.
She's like, oh, the lake where I met up with Chris last night? I'm just kidding. I wouldn't slander Rachel like that. I will slander her in about 15 minutes, but
yeah. So like we said, this is a forced proposal moment.
What the fuck was that fireplace setup? Like, I'm sorry, what was that?
Now, I will tell you this, it was romantic looking.
For a date, like with a table and a chair.
Yes, but it's because I think I believe wholeheartedly that they threw this together last minute because they were like, there will be a proposal scene and Matt is not wanting to propose. We will make this happen. Everybody quick. Set designers, do your worst. And like everyone just threw together something as quickly as they could.
Yeah, I mean, it had the same energy as Rachel's room, that's for sure. That shit was so ugly.
Yeah, the fireplace, again, it was ominous to me.
It was weird. It felt like a sacrifice.
It did, and I think it was about to be. Also,
if he didn't
the
continue
music, I do have to give some major props to your friends who do the music because they perfectly crafted music that was cinematic, but not, and kind of romantic, but not happy romantic. Like it was a little ominous, but also romantic, but also cinematic, but left you like, why is the music making me feel this way? Like if you don't know anything that's going on, if you've been living under a rock and don't know about everything that's going on, because it's on every news station, by the way, I actually turned on live television recently and literally every news station was talking about Chris Harrison. It was wild. Yes, like mainstream news. Wild.
Today?
No, the past couple days.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so anyways, I thought they did a fantastic job.
A little late to the game, guys. It's been over a month.
Come on, everybody.
All right, well, whatever.
But yeah, so they end up, we can make this quick.
Yeah.
There was one moment, by the way, where Chris was talking to Matt right beforehand and he said that he's still lacking some clarity, but he does love Rachel and he feels more and more sure of that he does love her. And then Chris tells him to gather his thoughts and what felt like to me in kind of a little bit of a belittling way said and say a little prayer. And I was like,
are we reading into everything? Yes. And we won't stop.
But it was kind of because he's irritated with Matt now. He's pissed at Matt. And the way he said it, I was just like, oh my God. Anyways, just a little side note.
100%. I agree.
Rachel shows up. I was going to ask you, does Carrie dress them for the finale? Yeah. Okay, you can tell. Because I was about to say, I will say, normally I do enjoy Rachel's fashion. I think she looks very cute most of the time with her style choices. This was not, I was like, this is not Rachel. This dress, though I love the cut, is green and glittery. Kind of has like Wicked Witch energy.
I was about to say Wizard of Oz, for sure.
Like Wizard of Oz.
And combining Wicked Witch of the West with the shoes and,
Yes, and then the dangly earrings that did not match the dress in the least.
Now, I have to jump ahead, but Michelle's outfit, I have to say, in After Final Rose was fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic.
And Rachel also looked beautiful.
Yeah, but that Michelle dress was a big Bachelor energy dress.
The earrings? Loved the earrings.
The color with them, the sequins.
But yeah, Rachel's look, I felt for her in that moment. I was like, wow.
Yeah, because I was like,
that she was like, okay.
It wasn't her choice. She loves red. She always wears red. She probably wanted to wear either a white or a
something
red dress.
Something super sleek and simple, and they were like,
yeah.
How about, and Carrie's like, how about some more rhinestones?
She's like, I was saying maybe a little more downplayed.
Yeah,
like,
how about some more rhinestones? Swarovski, green for your eyes. And she was just kind of like, okay. She's like, sure. I want to go, I don't want to be difficult. I don't want production to say I'm
chandelier
difficult.
Earrings, I don't know what type of metal they're made of. They look a little more rusty than anything. Here. Actually, the color of those earrings looked like knight's armor. Like it was neither silver nor white gold nor gold nor. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. It was a horrible color. Looked like old knight's shields.
Yeah, or I was even thinking like a web type thing.
Yeah,
with the right. Carrie,
come on. This is
how much? What is this salary that you're getting paid?
I know, seriously. I would love to replace you, Carrie.
Yeah, I would love to do your job. Maybe we should start #cancel Carrie.
Oh no.
Sorry, Carrie. Just kidding. But like, can someone find something to dig up on him if there is something?
I mean, it's just his job is is fashion, and it's not looking great. So I feel like that's really all you need.
Why do we have an old white man dressing the women?
And that's the question. Do you know how many young women would kill that position?
You know how many women, would actually put them in
like very stylish, sexy, beautiful, classic.
All we're gonna see Katie in is like black leather shorts and bedazzled jackets.
Oh no, he's gonna. Oh no, yeah.
He's gonna go to town on her, and it's like I don't feel like she's someone who's super confident in her own style, like a Tayshia.
Yeah. Where Tayshia was just like, no.
Put him in his place.
Yeah.
And she's not even like a Hannah who's going to be like, let's do it, He's going to throw her in something. She'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
And some bedazzled halter top.
And I did love Katie's outfit too. She had that cute hot pink, and then her shoes were like all rainbow, different color rhinestones.
Yeah,
but they were very
cute.
sexy and cool and like, ooh, it was fun.
Yeah.
Yikes. Carrie, don't. No.
Carrie, tone it back.
Well, so Matt and Rachel have their moment. I have to be real. I felt like her speech was good. I felt like she held the confidence. She was like...
It was a little long.
It was long, but
I'm not being a hater about her. I was just kind of like, oh my God, they're really letting her just go on and on with this little speech.
I, though, thought it was probably like everything he needed to hear, because she was like, I wanted to be there for you when you were hurting, and I wish you would tell me I won't be running away. She was basically validating him asking her to just be his girlfriend. Like, and then as soon as he did ask her to just be his girlfriend, there was no reaction of like irritation. It was very much like, yeah, let's do this thing.
Totally.
And I mean, probably just knowing that it would make a breakup easier.
Yep.
And paradise is in sight.
I mean, when he brought up his dad again, though, even just with that conversation with Rachel, I was like,
I know. He just needs to...
With genuine peace and love, you need some help, or you need to really just... You need to process more. It just seemed obvious he needs to process more.
I think watching him after the final rose, and then also watching him on Good Morning America, he was very much like, I need time to myself to process. And he kept saying that. And I think, yeah, that's what needs to happen.
I mean, it is good that I think that the reason I don't think he will look on this show with total animosity in the future, although I understand if he still has some, is I do think that it was an expedited process to him learning what he needs to work on for himself. And I think that a lot of times it is the most difficult pressurized situations that will make you learn the most about yourself. Yeah. And so I have to say that this process, might have expedited some work that needed to be done that might have taken years for him to figure out. And it might have been a relationship, might have taken, maybe he might have had a relationship in the future where he might have figured out all those lessons he needed to learn in maybe like a more, not a more difficult, but I don't know. So like I'm trying to look at that as a silver lining of like, I feel like this really taught him what he needed to just focus on for himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I hope that like that's a good thing. And I hope that he gets help and support. And I hope that he's able to. And I think he will. I think Matt's a fantastic person.
Yeah,
I think that's what we've seen of Matt. And I
Yeah.
think that he is so capable and honest. And I think that, you know, I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like we're going to see like an even better version of Matt in the future if he chooses to share that with us. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think he's going to grow to be an even better person.
Yeah. Much love for Matt. Well, then we see them smooch, and then they get, I think, the same carriage that Queen Victoria arrived in. So that was cool. that was their exit. It's the same carriage. Budget is low.
Okay.
So now after the final rose, first and foremost, I just have to clear this up. Love Emmanuel Acho so much. Why did they put that suit on him? Why didn't they size it properly?
Honey, that was my first note I made here. I was like, did he request it to fit like this? Like,
I'll tell you that I've seen him in many other circumstances, and I've never seen him in a suit that tight.
Did
before.
Carrie do that?
I blame Carrie.
Okay, cancel him. If Carrie did that suit, he deserves to be canceled. Oh, people are gonna get so mad that they don't even know who Carrie is, and they're gonna get triggered. I'm joking, but
I know.
For the love of God,
I know. Carrie,
I was like, afraid for him to make any sudden moves. I thought it was just going to split in half.
Split. I know. It was painted on his body. There's just like an artist in the background, just like an airbrush artist, like actually painted it on. It's not actually a suit.
You said like, he was a little stiff at first, and he was, but I think he was also stiff because he was
uncomfy.
afraid that he was going to bust out of the suit.
He was uncomfortable. He was physically uncomfortable in his suit that was much too tight for him.
It was like a cartoon.
Yeah. How dare they?
Also with the plaid.
I mean, I didn't mind the look. I didn't mind
combined
the look.
with the tightness. I'm sorry.
See,
with
no,
the red turtleneck with the tight plaid. It was looking like a cartoon.
Yeah, it was not. It was not good. It was not good. I didn't mind. I didn't love the plaid and the red turtleneck. I wish that they would have given him like a little more of like a black suit with maybe with a white turtleneck.
Yeah.
We're
on the same page.
But it was the fit that was.
Do you think it was Chris's stylist who's really buddies with Chris, and they're like, we're gonna make him look like a fool?
Probably, or they're so bad
Chris
with
is like, sabotage him. Sabotage him, Carrie.
I saw people saying like it's actually like they're too stingy with their budget, and it's actually Chris's suit, and I was like, there's no way Chris would wear a plaid suit. Also, but I could picture Chris wanting to copy Matt and wearing a turtleneck. I could see Chris being like, "Hey, check the situation out. What do you know? I didn't even notice you wore a turtleneck the whole season."
People might confuse us as brothers.
that's 100%.
That's the kind of joke
And Matt's
Chris
just
make.
like,
okay, so Michelle looks gorgeous,
absolutely
she
stunning.
comes out like she said Matt wouldn't talk to her for 2 minutes. Love that Emmanuel had to pull the classic Chris Harrison line. You really were in love with him, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Classic.
Love.
Yeah. They sit down. Michelle's like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Okay, sorry."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
That's my 2 sentence
I will
version.
say no. Emmanuel then did have the conversation. He did ask Michelle's opinion about Rachel and the pictures.
Oh yes.
And she said that she was hurt. She did say that she's like, Rachel has a good heart, but there's a lot of learning. But then Emmanuel brought up Chris Harrison trying to defend her, and Michelle was saying it's just this other weight that was already added on to difficult times. And she's like, people are making statements but not changing anything, and it's exhausting. And this is where then my brain was going, oh my God, I know that Tayshia and Caitlin are hosting Katie's season. What about Michelle's season now? So, I mean, she obviously she didn't get into great detail about Chris Harrison, but she made it very clear that it's exhausting and that the franchise makes these statements, but things aren't changing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I'm sure she also understands like the weight of what Matt is. She understands the weight of what Matt's experiencing to a degree. She hasn't been in that role yet. Again, save Michelle. Please get her out of this position. I'm now campaigning for Michelle. Do not be the Bachelorette. And I know people are going to be like, what? Please do not put her through this experience. Please.
Oh my God.
We must preserve her. We must save her.
Afraid. Oh, also, by the way, Bree, did I say this at the top of the episode? Bree was not. Bree was at the After the Final Rose. She was on Nick Vial's podcast. If you haven't listened, it's a very good listen. She is just absolutely fantastic. She is, love her. And she was at After the Final Rose. She talked to Emmanuel. She did not talk to Matt. They did not air it for some reason. She was like, it is disappointing. She said she has been disappointed on many occasions because of the franchise. And when Nick asked her if they would be seeing her on Paradise, she said, after my experience, I would venture to say probably not. So,
T.
T.
That's what I'm saying, though. I'm like, specifically Black women on this show. That's why I'm like, honestly, this is, just realized it's more. I'm like, seriously, I'm actually not joking. Like, I do not really stand Michelle's Bachelorette because I feel like there's just going to be another, like, I felt like this situation with Matt was so emotionally abusive.
Yeah, it was. And I think to echo what Rachel Lindsay has said, because I heard her and Van Lathan talking about, like, where do you go from here with this? Because that's like kind of like where the franchise is at after seeing this season with Matt and how much he was exploited, how emotionally abusive it was. What then the women, the aftermath with Chris Harrison, all of this. It's like, where do you go from here? And Rachel was talking about, like, I feel like the only way for it to work is to build it from the ground up again. Like, end it, start it again. And have it be like a completely different infrastructure.
I don't even know if that, I mean, again, it's real. I do get that. I think it would be better, but the problem too is the audience. And you gotta I think that what Rachel would probably agree with Lindsay is that one of the most traumatic experiences is coming off of the show.
Well, that's what Bree said. So Nick was like, how tough was it? You know, he's like, Nick was saying, like, I get so irritated when people are like, well, they knew what you're getting into. And Bree was like, it wasn't actually too bad for me on the show. She was like, it's getting off. That was horrible. And
yes,
what comes after.
Yes. And even as I've talked about this before, like, even as someone who had a great edit, I didn't have any really qualms with my experience, but it is still, and people liked me. I'm telling you, it's just like being thrust into the public eye is a little bit traumatizing, regardless of, and then being a Black person on the show, and just depending on what you've shared on the show and all of that, it has got to be incredibly traumatizing because you've got, I'm sorry, like a bunch of fucking racist ass people watching the show, like, who think they're not racist, or people who are explicitly racist watching the show, who are harassing and just ugh. So I'm like, I don't know, even if you restructure and build from the ground up, it still does not protect people from the audience. I mean, unless maybe the thing that I would say is maybe if they structure some sort of serious support system ongoing after the show, but that has never been the priority of any reality TV show, and I don't think it ever will, because it makes for so much more of a chaotic mess when people are just traumatized. So I hear where Rachel's coming from in that, but I have to say I just don't think that's going to solve so many of the problems. And I'm not saying don't do it because of that, but I'm just saying I think that there will still be a lot of issues. Yeah. Because it's the people. I mean, and even after last night, I'm just like, oh my God, I don't even want to look on the internet and see what people are saying about Matt.
No. I know.
It's awful.
Well, Matt and Emmanuel then spoke. And this is when I think Emmanuel sunk into that sweet spot, and he was fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
This is where it was fucking cool, because after all this whole season of my man, Chris Harrison, my man, and to have Emmanuel sit down with him and be like, how was it, my brother? It was like, okay, this is someone who fucking understands.
It also was just like this was the conversation that should have happened night one.
Yeah.
This, you saw Matt open up more than we've ever seen Matt open up by a mile in
Because
this
he was
conversation with
safe.
Emmanuel, because he was safe. And Emmanuel was like asking him direct questions. He was like, Emmanuel was so good at still like, he has the ability to still continue to like kind of be like, okay, and like kind of push it a little bit, but also just have like this really healthy conversation with Matt. And then they had this conversation about how, you know, Matt is talking about how he felt like he had to be on his best behavior on the show because he's like, I'm coming to its TV screen and going to be in the living room every week for a lot of people who don't often interact with a black man. And I now
I'm the one for the day.
Yes. And I feel this pressure, and talking about how he feels like they, as black men, they're conditioned to make people comfortable with their blackness, and talking about how sharing any type of emotion felt like weakness to him. So then that's maybe why we didn't see that piece of him on the television. And yeah, it was a really powerful conversation.
Well, and then Emmanuel brings up like, oh, so you guys are not still together with Rachel.
Yeah.
And there were some things that Matt said that to me were really like, whew, gave me chills. Like he said, one of the things he said was just like, Rachel might not know what it's like to be black in America. And it was like, might not. Well, she definitely doesn't know.
Yeah.
But, and then the one line that I really, that sort of said everything was, he said, if you don't understand that that's wrong in 2018, like there's a lot of me that you won't understand. And I will go on and on about this a little bit later, but you know, it's just like, yeah, if this is where she was at 3 years ago in her journey, he's been black his whole life. And so I think him looking out for himself is like, y'all, what is my life? Like, what is our how is her understanding of my experience and maybe like of our future children's experience?
That was when he brought up he brought up to her, like, we're talking about having kids together, like if you can't understand that. And I think I also think something that he said numerous times, and then I heard him repeat again on Good Morning America, was he told Emmanuel, he's like, when I first heard about everything, he goes, when you believe you know a person better than other people do, when you're in love with them, you try to be there for them. He's like, so obviously I try to dismiss these all as rumors initially. And you pray that they're not true. And then when he was saying though, like when I found out that they were, I questioned everything. And, you know, I do have to say, until this conversation, you know, obviously we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but this is when it hit me hard, like what Matt's been going through, because he does love this person on top of everything, on top of then the amount of horrific racism that I'm sure he's experiencing in his DMs when he wasn't saying anything about Rachel, right? All these people who are supportive of Rachel and then supporting Chris Harrison coming at him. He's having all of this on top of actually being in a relationship with this person, feeling completely blindsided, like all of these things. And he then said, like I was saying, he said numerous times, is that what got him was that he had to explain to her why it was painful. It wasn't that she did it. It was like that she couldn't understand. And again, I think we just got a little smidgen of it, but because he kept bringing it up, it makes me think that this was a very lengthy, very ongoing conversation, AKA we didn't hear from her for 6 weeks. That it was a lengthy conversation between them. It wasn't just like a, what do you mean? Like, it was like, how do you not get this? How do you not get this? How do you not get this?
Yep, 100%. And that's what I remembered when he said that going into their conversation, and was like, we'll get there. I also liked when he said, and I love, this is where Emmanuel Acho was spot on, where he was like, you know, but what, he kept prompting, which I loved, like, but what would you say, you know, to the people who are angry, you know, about this or that? I don't remember what the exact question was, but Matt was like, you know, put that energy towards supporting people of color. And I just loved it. He was teed up to bat, like to hit everything. Like, but he sits down with Rachel. First of all, how is her hair so shiny?
The shiniest.
How? I don't even know. Her hair is always.
I don't know.
Just
Also, by the
glistening
way,
in
I love that Emmanuel literally asked him. It was the most different than Chris Harrison energy I've ever seen. He literally said, "May I speak to her before you speak with her?" And it was like this beautiful moment of like, yeah, that's cool. Like it was just this like moment of consent of like, is that cool? Like it's probably gonna happen anyways, but is that cool?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
Okay. So there's some things like at first I was like, okay, like, you know, she's like, just because I want to talk about, just because what is it, you know, people are telling me like it's normal in my town, whatever, just because it's normal doesn't mean it's okay. I was like, okay.
yeah, when she came out and he was like, how are you? And she's like, I don't want to play the victim card
Yeah.
here. Like, yeah, it's tough, but I don't want to go there. Which I was like, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait about 10 minutes before I start playing the victim card. So then he talks about, and I actually really liked that he brought up the thing about, I say racially insensitive, because like that fuels racism. But you know, I've sometimes been like, but it seems weird to like call this action racist. Like, you know, she's racist because she was like, I was like, you know, that doesn't really describe it. And I just thought the way he broke it down made a lot of sense. And I hope that people, you know, heard that of being like.
And he also, when he said prejudice is a willful commitment to ignorance. And then he was like, who do you blame for that ignorance? You know? Yeah.
Asking the good questions.
No. Oh, and then also quick, the one that I was just like, dude, when he said history is meant to be remembered, not always meant to be celebrated.
Yeah. And she's like, yes, totally.
I was writing down his quotes as quickly as I could. I was just like, oh, I'm trying to grab all of them. Thank goodness afterwards, Twitter was like just doing all the quotes. I was like, oh, screenshots.
Yeah. And then I thought it was interesting that she said she was blindsided by the breakup.
Yeah, I think we saw when Matt came back out and she kept saying over and over and over again, like, I know how much you're in love with me, which makes me realize, like, yeah, it was in that's when the dynamic to me started to shift a little bit. I think also too when Emmanuel was asking like what took you so long to apologize, and she was like, you know, I wanted to not just say the right words but understand, which I totally, that's like, yes, I think it's important to actually pause, but it was 2 months.
But as well, not only that, but even if it was 2 months, and even if that was the time that it took for her to understand, okay, but then honey, it's like it didn't make sense to her why like it wasn't working with Matt. And it's like, because hon, if it took you 8 weeks for him to explain to you what is wrong with all this shit, like, not that everyone has to start from somewhere, but if you're starting right now, then it probably doesn't make sense for you to enter into a relationship with someone who is affected by your ignorance and racial insensitivity.
And I can't help but like think about the fact that what triggered the initial post was Chris Harrison, and then all the backlash that Rachel Lindsay was receiving. Yeah. So it wasn't like this came out of thin air, you know. And yes to everything you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, that's what you're missing, is that like, if this is just where you're starting on the journey, which everyone has a starting point. And I really do have compassion for Rachel in that sense. I really do, because everyone has somewhere they need to start. And I know people say, you know, like, oh, well, you're too old. I mean, some people now are, you know, in their 50s starting to unlearn things that they've been taught all their life.
I know my mom's been the past couple years. My mom's almost 60 years old, and she's been on like an active path to really unlearn and a lot of things that she's like, you know, she's it's a whole thing, and she's trying to start her anti-racist work now.
Yes. And you know, it's like, depending on the algorithm, you know, you might only get shown certain things on the internet because of the community that you live in. You might only surrounded by certain types of people because of the schools you went to and the church you grew up in. You might have only certain ideas reinforced. So I know we sometimes do say like, oh, well, you're this age, you should have educated yourself. Sometimes, you know, it's because of all these different circumstances, sometimes you have not been exposed to as much knowledge as other people have had exposure to. But what she seems to be missing, and what she seemed to be missing in this conversation, was it wasn't necessarily wrong that she's just starting to learn certain things, just talking about where she's at in her journey. But you need to understand that that's why it's hard for Matt. Matt is like, I don't want to have a relationship with someone who is just starting now in that journey. I don't want to put myself through that when I've been put through the trauma all my life of having to appease white people and having to make people comfortable with my blackness, as he was saying. And so he's like, I don't want to put myself through this shit of being with someone who's just starting their anti-racism work. And I don't want to be this tool in her toolbox of her learning journey. And that's what I feel like she wasn't picking up on in this conversation. That's what couldn't get to her head. And it was like, okay, anyway.
No,
I was just
completely.
Like,
and it's like not only that in itself, I can't even imagine. Add to that being in the public eye and having 1 million followers. Yes. And all of that like the amount that he is receiving, the influx that he is receiving every day of what I can't imagine. Well,
and he said, if something that really hit me in the chest is he said, I didn't sign up to have this conversation. And this whole, he didn't want to go on, be the Bachelor and be the Black Bachelor. Like, yes, that is sort of what he signed up for, but he didn't sign up to explain to his girlfriend about why her actions was problematic. Yes. He didn't sign up to be put on national television and honestly, Rachel, whether or not it was her intention, and like I said, I really do feel compassion for her in certain areas, she put him in the position of, she put him in the very bad position of being like, but like, why can't we just like move past this and move on? And that's the part that she didn't get. But when she did that, he didn't sign up to be now this villain who won't just forgive and accept and move on. And what he did was what he needed to do to protect himself. But now he's even being further traumatized because you know what? I've already seen what people are saying on the internet. Like, well, he just couldn't have any grace for her and yada, 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 yada. There was this line. Sorry, I'm on one right now. There was this line where, so you know how Emmanuel was kind of like teeing up all these different things like to Matt, where he was like, well, what do you say to the people who say this? And you knew when he was saying it, he was kind of like, he knew in his head the answer to that question, but he was prompting it. There was an instance, I wish I had written it down, some question he asked Rachel. Oh, he asked Rachel but what do you tell Matt? That like how something about the girl you were in 2018 and the woman who's like in front of him now, that like that's the one he fell in love with. I felt like he was giving her that opportunity to be like, but it doesn't make a difference. But her answer was like, I feel like he was prompting her to give like the quote right answer, and instead it like flew past her head and she goes, she's like, yeah, she's basically like, yeah, Emmanuel. And she like looks at him and she's like, that's what I was trying to tell you. Like, she said, I came for you and I love every part of you. And that includes you being a Black man. And she literally rolled over it like that. And that was an I don't see color conversation, which was cut out, by the way, of her overnight date, which we saw in the previews at the very beginning of the season, that she was just like, love is love and like color doesn't matter to me. This was another iteration of that same idea. What she was saying to him was, I love every part of you, including you being a Black man. But this is like what I sat with after this is I was like, this is what Rachel's missing. And this is what so many people, that's what so many of us miss, is that the identity of being a Black person in America is not just an afterthought of like, Jess, I love you for you, like, and your alopecia, you know, or like, and your quirky fashion sense, or like, and the way, you know, you take a long time to respond to my texts, like sort of this like, and these like quirky personality traits, like being Black isn't just in America, isn't just like a personality trait. Yes. It is his identity. And that's what Matt was trying to say is like, I walk through our country through every day with this identity that I cannot shed, that is a marker to other people who treat me differently and who I have to try to adjust myself in order to have a smoother experience in my life. Like I have to constantly be shifting and adjusting because of what people see when they see me. It's not an afterthought. And that's what Rachel was missing. She still does not fully comprehend. And I think a lot of people still don't fully comprehend how their whiteness, and I think I still have work to do on comprehending how our whiteness influences every way in which we move about the world, in the way it gives a little sprinkle and sometimes a really big dollop of privilege as we move about in our life experiences and work and school and walking down the street and going into a liquor store and every single possible thing. And that's just, to me, what she was missing in all of this, is she still doesn't understand that being Black isn't just like another thing to love. It is an all-encompassing experience. And that, to me, is what this conversation showed, is that she just does not grasp that. And what made me so sad is that I knew when she was crying and doing her whole thing, I knew that so many other white women in America were going to see themselves in Rachel in a good way and being like, why can't people why can't we just be about like love and acceptance, and like, why can't we just move on from this? Why do, that argument of like, why do we have to make everything about race?
Yeah. Well, I watching that, there was that specific moment when she was crying, and I just felt like I was so grateful that Matt was willing to have this conversation for all of us on television, because when he looked at her and he said, the feelings that like I don't have for you, they don't go away overnight. Seeing you like this hurts, but I don't want to be emotionally responsible for those tears. And the work that needs to be done is not work that I want to do, nor do I need to do, nor can I do right now for you. And also when he said too, he's like, the last thing I want is for people to cancel you. I want you to be called in, but you have to do it on your own.
And I feel like that's what I'm saying. That was the part where I feel like, so unfortunately, so many viewers are going to look and just be like, you don't want to be emotionally responsible for her, but love is about like the ins and outs and the ups and downs, like that whole thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like
I hear what you're saying.
Probably so many viewers who are Black or brown watching that are probably like, yeah, I understand where he's coming from. Like, because I think, unfortunately, like, people of color have been emotionally responsible for white people's feelings, like, all the time.
Yeah. It was, well, when then Emmanuel was like,
if you never see him again.
Yeah, no, I'm like, okay, drama.
I know,
Emmanuel, we live for it.
Too. I know. You might have well said, like, what if Matt got hit by a bus the minute he walks out of the studio?
I was like, okay, Emmanuel, we see you being with the drama. We love it. You're hosting this shit. Okay. And
throwing in a little new iconic question.
But yeah, she obviously had these final thoughts where she was like, it was like, please, start dating me again. Like, I think she thought that they were gonna. I'm pretty confident that she was convinced this was going to be the moment in which she got him back on national television and they started dating again. And Matt's
she thought this was going to be her moment.
Yeah, and I think it was very clear to most of us watching as soon as he even had the conversation with Emmanuel. It was like, no, this is not.
It's over.
And again, and I talk to you too. Also, aside from everything, we know Matt, like, we saw how he was on Women Tell All and was extremely, like, beyond, like, in my opinion, too gracious with Queen Victoria and some of these people. And he was not.
You text me and you were like, the fact that he's like, Victoria, I have nothing but good things to say about you.
Yeah. And he said, and I heard him on Good Morning America be like, Rachel has a good heart and all these things. But I think that there was a lot that wasn't talked about. Well, obviously there was a lot that wasn't talked about from behind the scenes that you could just sense that it was like, he's done. I think there was many conversations and it was like, no more. And then when Emmanuel was like, will you two have a final embrace? And Matt sat in silence
I couldn't believe
for 2.5 minutes.
Oh, it wasn't just silence. He started that off with a cool exhale. He was like,
and then it wrapped. And it was so, I mean, like I needed to like immediately go to
he
bed
said,
afterwards.
what did he say? He said, I don't know if it'll ever not hurt hearing that. And I was a little confused about what he was talking about. What was your thoughts on
I wasn't sure if he meant
her saying
that she cares about him still, or
I think that's what he was talking about.
yeah, I couldn't quite tell.
But then if that's what he was addressing, then it seems, bro, what got me is when he sat there silent for 2 minutes. Oh my God. And I felt like I was watching a movie, and she was sitting there like doing the smile of like, Matt, like,
and like touching
Matt,
him.
like,
Yeah.
come on, Matt. And
he
he was
no.
like looking straight ahead, just like,
I think that's why he was looking. I feel like it's like he almost knew that if he engaged again, that he might get caught up in it, because he does love her.
he was protecting himself.
He's protecting himself.
It
It was so intense to watch. I mean,
she was just like, and you saw it on her face. She knew like it was done. And I think she was still even in denial up until that moment. She thought she was gonna.
Yeah.
She thought she was gonna get him back.
So that was the most intense.
Yeah, and now poor Matt is just left to grapple with this fucking mess and the backlash of people who are being like, you need to show him. He doesn't need to do shit. He did not owe Rachel shit. He does not owe you shit.
I think it's important to send Matt love and support right now.
Yes.
I really do. I legit, Becca, after it ended, I sent him a DM. I've never sent the man a DM before, but I just was like, I'm sure there's just so many negative messages coming in that it was like, I know that it's not, there's going to be no response, but just so that like he's seeing them as he's going through, that like, you know, just thank you for being willing to have this conversation on national television.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah.
Whether or not he fully consented to it.
But
there's
that whole thing too, but just like sending love and, you know, good times with his boy TC.
Yeah, come on, guys. TC, come through.
Come on, TC, it's time for you to come through with a good time.
You're the good
we know
time
that you're the good time guy. Come on, come
on,
through.
guys. A little COVID party in Miami, am I right? A little box seats at a basketball game. Ooh. Never have I been in more support of like, go Matt, get on with your fuckboyery. Go have some fun.
Have some fun.
Go play off that clout.
It's time to get some therapy. It's time to work on you, love on yourself, have some good times, all of that.
Go do some talk space on the road while you're heading to, you know, whatever hot party
or whatever.
Yeah, meet and greets. Hang with the Kardashians, whatever it is you're going to do.
Exactly.
And live your life.
Well, now we have Katie and Michelle coming up as Bachelorettes.
2 separate seasons. They had to make that very,
you know, for a second,
distinct.
I was like, no. 2 separate seasons. Katie's will be coming in a couple months. They started filming, I think, like yesterday. And then we'll have Bachelor in Paradise, and then we will have Michelle's season. So we have way more Bachelor content that we thought we were going to have this year, and it is rolling butt for the next couple weeks. We will be doing some fun non-batch content and some deep breath stuff. So anyways, it's not an easy thing to end on.
No.
Because that was so intense. But
no.
Broads, thank you for joining us on this journey. We love you all so very much. I'm so grateful for all of you. And you can join us on Thursday as we have some wild and weird times with our BFF, Craig.
Yay! Chat soon.
Chat soon, Broads.